here. Kind of a little warm out there, buddy. We can do it. Warm one today, but everything will be fine. Got 3 y'all here. It's a little early. We're going live early. There goes Mega Banker. Will be going live tonight at 8 o'clock sharp. For sure Meg doesn't go mute his stuff today. I'm sure he's not muted. Doing an early live stream, so y'all can stay tuned for later on for Mega America. But it's gonna be it's very warm and hot out today, so there'll be no car shit today. I mean, it's really hot. So far, there's only 6 of y'all here and 1 like, and 0 talking. So that must be that there's a lot of lit tires here in already. I wonder where little bitch boy's at today. Is he still flying his little plane around? Make sure you don't crash again, buddy. Yeah, we don't want you to crash. Oh, the tires took way to like. They don't like it anymore. They're mad. I called their little bitch boy. There we go. Alright, lit tires, got 1 more like in. You know, once you guys gotta come out and start talking. Hello. I've got 2 likes there. Oh boy. How long is it going to last? Well, we're gonna go ahead and start the video. Y'all can stay tuned and watch it. You know? Okay, let's go.
Big beautiful bill after debating the 940-page package over the weekend.
Madeline Rivera joins us live from Washington with the latest. Hey, Maddie. Good morning, guys. This has been a lengthy process with drama from both Republicans and Democrats. The Senate began debating the bill around 3 p.m. Eastern time yesterday. That only came after Democrats forced a full reading of this bill, a process that stretched from Saturday into Sunday. But Republicans had to work through their own differences. Two senators, Tom Tillis and Rand Paul, defected. Tillis later announcing he is not seeking re-election. Still, Tillis is doubling down on his opposition. Here's a quick roundup of what lawmakers said over the weekend.
This bill in its current form will betray the very promise that Donald J. Trump made.
This bill makes the 2017 tax cuts permanent. It avoids a tax increase for your family that's coming in December if we don't act now.
Republicans are about to pass the single most expensive bill in U.S. history to give tax breaks to billionaires while taking away Medicaid, SNAP benefits, and good-paying jobs for millions of people.
So the vote series is expected to kick off at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and during that time, Republicans and Democrats can offer as many amendments as they wish. After the vote series ends, the Senate can move forward to approve the bill with a simple majority. But remember, Paul and Tillis are already opposed to this bill, so Senate Majority Leader John Thune can only afford to lose one more vote, with Vice President J.D. Vance providing the tie-breaking vote, of course. If it passes, the bill heads back to the House so the two chambers can sync up. But some House Republicans have already said they can't support the Senate's version. All of this potentially putting the president's July 4th deadline at risk. The president appears to have softened on that date, though. Here's what he told Maria Bartiromo on Sunday Morning Futures.
I'd like to say yes, but the problem is if we're 2 days late or 5 days late, everybody says, oh, you had a tremendous failure. Whatever it is, as long as we have it, it's very important. If we don't have it, there's a 68% tax increase. If we don't have it, you know, the debt ceiling extension is very important.
The House could take up the bill as early as Wednesday.
It was a radical idea. Imagine doubling the federal minimum wage. I can't do this. No way. Rich kids, they deserve to get a free education. That is what democracy is.
Where all the good people go.
Too exciting. Too funny. That's a good one, Jerry. Where do you even find these? It's perfect, okay? It's perfect, Jerry. Jerry, it's gold, Jerry. It's gold. I might want to play that again in the show. We are riding a high, ladies and gentlemen, as we have shut the mouth of AOC. It's a wild thing that I don't know if there's any show in history that's been able to actually do it like this one. And we just want to start off by saying our hearts are brimming with gratitude and joy this morning, Monday, June 30th, 2025. Last day of June. Whoa! Man, it's ripping. It is ripping. My daughter's about to have her 5th birthday. My daughter's 5. Whoa! Her due date was July 4th. Her due date was July 4th. It didn't end up happening, but that's enough for me, okay? That's enough for me to tell me that God wanted me to have children and that America's birthday should be something we should all celebrate. And we're going to be doing that this week. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But first, AOC, Bronx Girl persona, destroyed in part by all of us together saying, you know what? Truth is more important than lies. Zorhan Mondami doubles down on plan to target white people with higher taxes. Says billionaires shouldn't exist. Okay, well, we have border czar Tom Homan on the show. Let's go. Can we get a cheer for Tom Homan? Come on. Tom Homan on the program today, baby. It's going to be awesome. Live from the White House. Hogan Gidley as well will be talking to us from Speaker Johnson's office. We're going to talk a little big, beautiful bill. And Joe Borelli joining the program to talk New York politics. Oh, baby. It's going to be a wild one. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show.
Get help where you need it most. Microsoft 365 Copilot, your AI assistant at work, is now 15% off.
My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going on in the economy right now. We were just in New York, and it's like, you know, geez, man, like you're looking around, and it's like, this is a third world country. It's crazy. We went through the Bronx, and it was wild to see. I don't know why to live, but if Zoran Mandami wins, that city is going to go totally bankrupt. Ladies and gentlemen, the economy is fluid. It moves. And those motions are really important to keep track of. Obviously, you don't want to be left holding the bag. That's why I invest in gold. Gold is how I protect my wealth. I just diversify into it, right? It's not like I'm not sitting there in a, you know, a pile of gold like Smeagol. This is how I diversify. And it's the best performing asset class in my portfolio. Advantage Gold takes care of me, and they can take care of you. With physical gold, U.S. dollar's dominance is under attack. Gold is becoming the #1 hedge against global currency shifts. How to move your IRA or 401k into physical gold? They can help you do it tax and penalty free. And how do you get $10,000 in free gold and silver? Well, you just call today. You can text Benny to 85545. That's Benny to 85545. Or you can go to AdvantageGold.com. It's AdvantageGold.com. Data and message rates apply. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. Ladies and gentlemen, something that AOC didn't do. Boy, I guess we should just start off with the top line here. This is the video up on X, and it whoa, it's done close to 10 million views across the great, wide, beautiful internet, and we just want to shout out to the audiences here who helped us get there. And this video has very much broken the internet, as they say, and the reason that we were so upset about it is that we've heard AOC repeat a lie over and over and over again. This is the most recent iteration of that lie. It was her chirping at Donald Trump last week. On June 24th, AOC said, Donald Trump, I'm a Bronx girl. You should know that we eat Queens boys for breakfast, respectfully. So AOC's weird psychosexual fetish stuff. She's like obsessed with Elon Musk. She's obsessed with Donald Trump. She can't help herself. She was responding to a Donald Trump post here where Donald Trump called her low IQ and then endorsed her for president in 2028, which is amazing. She can't help herself, though. And it's this response, actually, that went and put the nail in the old coffin for AOC. This whole I'm a Bronx girl shtick is so tiresome because it's working class stolen valor. And this is what really gets under my skin. Is there's a lot of people that really do grow up poor, that really do grow up working class, that really do grow up with absolutely nothing in terrible, rat-infested, sunken, crumbling neighborhoods. And those people are not AOC. It's stolen valor, the likes of Kamala Harris saying, I worked the fries, right? Kamala Harris, I worked the fries. How'd that turn out for Kamala Harris? I'm telling you to call AOC on this. President Trump called Kamala Harris. Get me that Trump with the fries. I just got to put it up. I got to put it up. Just get me the Trump with the fries. I got to put it up. So Kamala Harris lied. And I want to just harken back here. ALX, if you could grab really quickly that lie, that Kamala Harris, I work the fries lie. Because it's the same thing. I just want to take a really quick side quest here, just very shortly. Because this stuff, it is, if you, please don't cancel me. I'm going to use the left's playbook. All right? Your identity is really all that matters. And people know when you're being fake with your identity. Wow. These people have bought lock, stock, and barrel, bit the bullet of identity politics, and they live by the sword, and now they're going to die by the sword. Dude, these people have been preaching that your identity, most importantly, your immutable qualities, your skin color, like where you come from, right? Where, like you know, what you identify as. These are mutable. They're your immutable qualities. Their words, not mine. That's what's defined you. In fact, dare I say, that's the most important thing about you, actually. And of course, they can't admit when those qualities right? Like, so Kamala Harris's story is that both of her parents were physicists. They were professors. Kamala Harris lived in a beautiful of Montreal, Canada. Kamala Harris went to the fancy school in Montreal, Canada. It's beautiful. Kamala Harris never worked at McDonald's. It doesn't appear on any of her resumes. There's no record of her working at McDonald's. She never did it. She can't point to the location. There's not a single person that came forward and said, we worked with her, we remember her. Yet Kamala Harris makes a lie like this. Here's Kamala Harris. I'm telling you, this is the worst lie that Kamala Harris told on the campaign trail. This did more damage to Kamala Harris in 2024 than any other thing that she said. Here we go.
First one, just a fact check. Because your opponent
There is
almost
no little
every
job.
day. Okay,
There's no such thing as a little job.
Okay, fair. Because your opponent almost every day seems to be talking about this. So I just want to ask you yes or no. At any point in your life, have you served 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, on a sesame seed bun, working out at McDonald's? Yes or no? That's it.
I have.
Okay, now the other job.
But it was not a small job. Like, I did the fries. I mean, yes, but I did.
I did the fries.
Okay. Fries. I mean,
yeah, all right. Hey, Klein, you ever worked fast food? You ever work at a restaurant? Yeah, you ever waiter? I was a waiter. Yeah, waiter. Oh, man, I busted my... When I was in community college, I was working at a Iowa sushi restaurant, and let me tell you, don't eat sushi in Iowa. Really, it was like a fried egg roll place. Okay, that's considered sushi in Iowa. They fry the egg rolls. Okay, that's where I worked. Like, I worked through school. Man, that was tough work. But let me tell you what, like, if you ever worked inside of a restaurant, it's called Formosa. You can look it up. It's called Formosa in Iowa City, Iowa. It's still around. You can still go find it. On Formosa. That's where there it is, right there. Goodness gracious. Man, I busted my ass as a waiter here. I busted my ass. It was, it was just a place where college kids go get blackout, right? I was sitting there at Kirkwood Community College. I wasn't even cool enough to go to the University of Iowa. Anyway, the point is, it's not about me. The point is that you remember these things. It's excruciating. My feet have never hurt so much working those doubles. Like, my back ached, my shoulders ached. This is really, frankly, this is like really some of the toughest labor out there. Okay, be good to your waiters and waitresses. No tax on tips. Tip well. It's a good Christian thing to do. Like, view it as a bit of an offering. Like, be good to your servers, obviously. It's very tough. But you don't talk about it like that. Every person who ever worked fast food, shout yourself out in the comments. Shout yourself out. Did you work fast food? Where'd you work? Did you work at a restaurant? Put it in. Shout yourself out in the comments. Did you work at Applebee's? Did you work at Texas Roadhouse? Did you work at the buffet? Did you work at the local gas station? That was the other job. The other job was the gas station job. But this is just how country kids grow up. This is how most kids grow up, honestly. But you don't tee-hee-hee giggle about it, go like this, and then say, I worked the fries, and then talk about the dignity of it all, and that there's no such thing as a small job. This is not the way that you talk about those kind of jobs. I can still feel the sores and the aching in my feet for being up on my feet for 18 hours a day, like carrying trays. It's like, this is how it is. I'm sure that you worked in restaurant. I think that, like, McDonald's has employed like 15% of America or something like that. It's like an insane amount of people that have worked at McDonald's in this country. I'm getting to a point here. The point here is that that's working class stolen valor, is what that is. Is Kamala Harris lying? She had no proof. She doesn't have any receipts, slips, paychecks. Nobody from McDonald's vouched for her. McDonald's says we have no record of her working here. Nobody that she worked with remembers her. I remember my coworkers. I remember my managers. And I certainly remember what it was like. And it's not, I worked the fries. Tee! That's not how people talk about jobs like that. Look at President Trump. He actually did work the fries. Donald Trump called Kamala Harris out on that lie. And then this, is this side of an assassination attempt? One of the most iconic thing we've seen in American politics to date. Okay, so let's take bullet to the head out of it. This is the most iconic thing Trump did on the campaign trail. You know it's true. Trash truck was awesome. Some of the speeches were amazing. Having some of the rappers up on stage with them, were really cool. Had some big old audiences, some, you know, the RNC convention. But this was the most iconic. This is what dignity, giving dignity to people who do these jobs, this is what it looks like. You know, libs talk about, like, I see you, we want to see you. This is what seeing people, it looks like. When a billionaire rolls up his sleeves and gets all the salt and grease in his hands and hair, splattered in his eyes. Trump serving his Happy Meals was incredible. We don't have time right now, but some of the best comedy Trump ever did, the single best comedy Trump ever did, was that drive-thru window. Trump just absolutely talking smack in the drive-thru window, talking trash about Kamala Harris, like giving people their Happy Meals. It was wild. Of course, it was also iconic. It was straight up Norman Rockwell. He like created a Norman Rockwell painting here. It's amazing. Who doesn't want a Christmas card that looks like this? Who doesn't want this on their Christmas tree? This is gonna be it. We just figured it out. We're gonna make this the Christmas ornament. Oh, that's gonna be the Christmas ornament this year. Who would want to hang one of these from your tree? You want to hang one of these from the tree? It's amazing. You should you can find it like the pool feed of Donald Trump just working the drive-thru window. He should do this once a month. Just work in the drive-thru window and just talk and smack to people. Just like laughing and hollering and like spitballing with people. Just oh, so great. Yeah, he gave extra nuggets. He gave Kamala Harris a salty Happy Meal. He was like asked about like what Kamala Harris, what his message is to Kamala Harris, because it was her birthday when he was doing this. And he's like, happy birthday, Kamala, enjoy the salt. Come on, people. Salt! The point is, too excited about it, is that you live by the sword, you die by the sword. This is Donald Trump, who's, again, an absolute master at moments like this, at calling people out on their fraudulence, at exposing them where they're most vulnerable. This is President Trump going in, straight through the belly of the dragon. He found the missing scale. Said, you people are going to live in this fake world that you worked at McDonald's. You didn't. You were a privileged yuppie kid who grew up with your professor parents in a nice little suburb. You never worked at McDonald's. You're lying. And then what does that do? That proves to how many people worked at McDonald's? Ask Grok, please. 12.5% of the country? 12.5% of the country? Were you one of them? Have you worked fast food? Shout out your fast food in the comment section. Ashley, would you mind popping them up? I want to see where people have worked. Anyway, that's not... I'm sorry to get like the side quest here, but it's setting up how this works. AOC, why this was so important for us to go up to AOC's district, why we had the show off last Thursday, why I'm so proud of our team here at this company, because we were able to flip this thing around. We were able to flip this patty like a Big Mac, okay? Okay, I worked at McDonald's, says Kim. Okay, in a few years. I agree with you. It's really hard work. Hey, Kim, did you do the fries? Is that what you did? I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt that's the way you talk about your McDonald's experience. But anyway, nothing but love out to the chat. Okay, we got McDonald's. Let's do one or two more. Yeah, we got anybody else who worked fast food? Or maybe was working fast food? Okay, Paul worked at McDonald's. Paul and Mr. Pitt, Mr. PDD, 78, worked at Pizza Hut. Come on, man. Well done. Freaking love classic pizza. You work at one of the classic Pizza Huts with the buffets and the X-Men video games with the Ninja Turtle video games. That's the one. That's the kind of Pizza Hut I went to. Oh, got that deep dish. Hardee's, McDonald's, Dairy Queen, and Pizza Hut for Lucy Marie Dawn. Way to go, man! That is the trifectas. Wendy's, Panera Bread. I'm a big fan of. I really like Wendy's. That's Mizzy Nizzy. Thank you, Mizzy. 70s gas station said, "Why are you so angry?" Well, not angry today. I'm really happy. But I thank you for your comment. Why are you so angry? 70s gas station. I bet that was rad. I bet you let it rip there in Domino's. Okay. This is like this. I'm so like proud of our working class audience. It's amazing. Anybody else got calluses on their fingers and on their hands? Like this is the country. This is America. We have this is how we relate. This is how President Trump relates. But Trump was a billionaire, and he was raising queens. Yeah, well, why did the working class love Trump so much? You know the one thing that Trump could have done? He could have just retired and go bought an island. He doesn't. He keeps building. We'll be at a Trump property this week. Trump keeps building. And you know when Trump decides to build a building, you know what that does? Create hundreds of thousands of working class jobs. Everyone from the people who run plates in the kitchen to the guys who build the actual buildings, maintain the buildings. Like, people love Trump for that reason. He's so rich. Dude, have you ever seen the footage of Trump working in his own tower in Trump, Chicago, being a bellboy? This is incredible. It's wild footage. ALX, that's the last thing I'll ask for. Can you grab that footage? It's like Trump. This is like a classic. This is Donald Trump. Donald Trump went and delivered food to people, brought people's luggage up to their room, went and walked their dogs. I think it was Entertainment Tonight. I can't remember who it was. He did valet. It was amazing. Trump did every working class job at his hotel. So cool. Anyway, the point is that most Americans either work that's great. Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay. Most Americans either work a working class job right now. If you're a parent, you have a working class job. If you're a full-time stay-at-home parent, you are in the middle of a working class job. Either work one right now or absolutely did work one. Right? So when libs lie about the pretentious, oh man, so awesome. Just so awesome. Look at this. Look at him go. Look at Trump go. Look at that. So this is Trump Trump's going to be a busboy. Oh, I'm sorry. He's going to be a bag man. He's going to be a bellhop here at Trump Chicago. This is Trump in Trump Chicago. Let me just kind of like zip forward. There he goes. Is Trump like taking? Isn't that amazing? Trump like with the gloves and with the white gloves and everything. Trump taken out. Oh, it's just beautiful. Great memories. That's right. We've done a lot of work at Trump Chicago too. Man, we love this location. I cannot tell you enough what a great location. If you're in Chicago, which you know, there's other questions about that. Why are you in Chicago? But if you are there, this place is magical. Trump, he goes and he like walks the dog. It's amazing. You just love it. You can smell a fraud. You can smell a fraud. AOC didn't build anything. Kamala didn't build anything. What a different take I'd have on this if AOC or Kamala Harris, could you imagine, ran like a massive billion-dollar real estate or construction empire. Well, then you'd have a little working-class credit to your name. That's what Trump does. Trump has provided more working-class jobs through either being president or being a very successful billionaire real estate developer than Kamala Harris could, or the Green New Deal, or any piece of legislation that AOC or Kamala Harris could ever pass. So it's a particularly great point of attack. Now, Donald Trump already did Kamala Harris. He did a number on her. She's cooked. She's finished. Literally cooked like the fries. Her, that's a little weird. AOC's out. There it is, Klein. AOC's out chirping at Donald Trump. This Bronx girl, you can come get it. Come get this Bronx girl. I'm a Bronx girl. I'm a Bronx girl. I represent the Bronx. She does represent the Bronx. But is she a Bronx girl? Well, the answer is no. She's not from the Bronx. The Bronx is a very hard scrabble, historic, working class district of New York. It's famous. She's not from there at all. AOC's from the opposite of the Bronx. She's from a little hamlet, literally a town called Yorktown, Hamlet Heights. And that's a very clean, pretty, safe, wealthy neighborhood way up in Westchester County. It's manicured and leafy. There's mansions and American flags, small businesses. It's an absolute paradise. AOC isn't just like from there, meaning she just like got a birth certificate from there or whatever. All right? There, Kenya, whatever. Like, she's not just like, no, she grew up there. This town raised AOC. The Bronx didn't raise AOC. This town did. Why has nobody ever gone and, like, exposed that? Isn't, like, the entire media of the global media of the earth located in Manhattan? All you had to do was drive 90 minutes like we did. And that's what we did. Here's a photo. We teased it on the show. You know, AOC is about to run for president. She's definitely going to run for president. She's literally running for president on the lie that she's a Bronx girl. I think I will play one of these. How about just clip A, please, Klein? Here's AOC's campaign ad where it's just one of thousands of times where AOC lies that she's a Bronx girl. But look at that's quite a crowd. Wow, that's quite a crowd there. Let's listen.
You know, Idaho, I am so touched being here. I'm a girl from the Bronx.
Is she, though? Has anybody asked? We did. Here's just first couple minutes of our report exposing where AOC is really from, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, it's since gone viral and changed, very much changed the narrative here. Please enjoy just the first few minutes.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Bronx. This is where AOC says she's from. And this is where AOC is actually from. Welcome to Yorktown, the business hamlet of Yorktown Heights. There's mansions everywhere. It's beautiful, it's green, it's pristine, it's clean. And they even have a Christopher Columbus Society. Right here in AOC's hometown. Today we're going to investigate the biggest lie in all of politics, the fraud of AOC. Let's go.
This is the Bronx. The Bronx is a gritty, working-class, hardscrabble, historic borough of New York City. AOC is a communist who represents the Bronx in Congress. She's not just a rising star in the Democrat Party, she is the Democrat Party. Clearly preparing for a 2028 run, AOC is breaking fundraising records and filling stadiums to hype her Bronx girl persona.
I'm a girl from the Bronx.
AOC won her seat in Congress in 2018 by attacking her establishment Democrat opponent as not being sufficiently from the Bronx.
That a Democrat who takes corporate money, doesn't live here, doesn't send his kids to our schools, doesn't drink our water, cannot possibly represent us.
AOC reflexively repeats that she's from the Bronx and a Bronx girl.
I speak like a girl from the block.
And again.
I grew up first generation in the Bronx.
And again.
Girls from the Bronx are welcome everywhere.
So often that it's almost a pathology. In fact, AOC just pulled the Bronx girl card again this week, responding to President Trump, saying she would eat a Queens boy like Donald Trump for breakfast. Very wrong here. What functional adult repeats where they're from this often? Someone who's lying. And here's the dirty little secret. AOC is not actually from the Bronx. Since AOC was an infant, her family has lived in a beautiful little hamlet called Yorktown Heights. This little town is the opposite of AOC's gritty, downtrodden, working-class persona. It's clean and beautiful and safe. The neighborhood that AOC grew up in is well off, leafy and manicured. AOC went to elementary, middle, and high school here. She graduated from Yorktown High, where she went by the name Sandy Cortez. And then she graduated Boston University with an economics degree. Since AOC is about to run for president, we thought it would be important to investigate the town that gave America its most famous communist.
This is not the Bronx. As you can see here, this is the leafy, beautiful Parkway suburbs. Is that a golf course? Oh, it's gorgeous. What a pleasant and wonderful drive. I feel like I'm on my way to Pleasantville. Very much looking forward to finding out where AOC's from.
After a 90-minute drive from New York City, we finally got to Yorktown Heights. Check out this beautiful entry to the city. Trees lining the road, some mansions, beautifully manicured lawns, American flags. This looks like an awesome place to be from. You get out of the car and you find something like this.
Welcome to the capitalist horrors of AOC's Yorktown Heights Patriot State Park. You can see here a Veterans Memorial Circle that's been beautifully tended and groomed with a lot of American flags and a lot of honor for our great nation. Really, just a terrifying place to grow up here. I hear that there are miles of luscious trails going through the forest here. Boy, you can understand why you'd become a communist growing up in a hood like this. Capitalist swine trying to sell me rhubarb at this beautiful Meadows Farm farmer's market that, like, you can just smell it. They just want my money, my capitalist dollars. I'm not going to let them do it because I'm an angry Marxist, right? Now, this is what blackpills someone like AOC, right? The fresh pies, the fresh fruit and vegetables. You know, could you imagine growing up like this? Hell on earth. Have they ever tried to apologize to AOC? Look at that. No trash, no graffiti, yellow school buses. Disgusting, okay? So safe, so clean. AOC grew up here. Now you can understand, okay? You can understand where the radicalization comes from. It's too nice. Look at that beautiful, that flagpole right there. Just makes your blood boil. Let's see what new horrors await us around the corner. This is where AOC got the idea for the Green New Deal. That's what we'd all be driving in if AOC got her way. Do you understand? She grew up with the horse and buggy. That's what she wants us to go back to. Get it? You gotta think like her. So depressing. With my made from scratch cinnamon rolls, my ice cream. Thank you. What a terrible life. I hate capitalism. I'm so angry. This is hell. We must destroy America and capitalism. Oh, don't worry. There's a secret, adorable patio that we missed. A luscious green oasis hamlet back here that we happened to miss while we were rage eating our ice cream. Look how beautiful this is. Yo! What's up, man? How you doing? We got subscribers in AOC's hometown. Look,
we got a bunch. We actually had a number of people reach out as we did a few interviews there at the end of the video. I encourage you, please, to go and watch it. And that's about a third of the video. We went and showed AOC's, the home that she grew up in. We checked in with AOC's neighbors, who have a Trump sign in their yard, by the way. The house right across from AOC's childhood home has a massive Trump sign in it. Guys with MAGA hats stopping us in the middle of the road to come out and like chat with us. Tell us all the stories about AOC. Turns out that she was a bully in high school. Isn't that square? That she was really mean and nasty. She was one of the mean girls. And that a lot of people, well, you can see here, there you go. Prestigious, Ocasio-Cortez says, won a prestigious science fair prize for research involving free radicals. Wow. That's what she wants to do in New York, free all the radicals. That is exactly what's going on with the New York mayoral race, and we'll talk about that in just a second, because, wow, boy howdy, Zoran Mandani, who is of the same party as AOC, they're both Democrat Socialists of America, right? This is the same party, the U.S.A. is who ran AOC, and they're the people who are running now the soon-to-be mayor of New York, unless someone can pull off a miracle. AOC, man. Look at this was, by the way, when she was named Sandy. Look at this. Look at this photo. It's fun. Can we zoom out on this? This is before. This is Sandy. This is before she was AOC. This is when she was Sandy. AOC's entire life is a lie. I just want to finish here by explaining that these people are total frauds. They sit there and they yap constantly about embracing your identity, being who you are, making sure that the people who are underserved or who are forgotten in America are seen. Well, you know who's forgotten in America? People like in Yorktown Heights, like small town America, who just barely gets by and gets crushed by inflationary policies and Green New Deal policies. Those are the people who actually get crushed. Sandy refuses to acknowledge where she's actually from. Come out of the closet, AOC. Embrace who you are. AOC, your childhood home is worth $500,000. It's a lot more expensive than my childhood home, I promise you that. Today's valuation, we looked it up. I'm not going to dox anyone's address here. We looked it up, and we drove right by her childhood home. It's in the video. It's worth $500,000. That's the kind of home that AOC grew up in. Embrace who you are. You're not some Jenny from the block, skis girl, all right, raised in the gutter. The town that built you is a perfect, beautiful slice of Americana. Everything that's good about this country, it's patriotic, it's stable, it's safe, it's clean. This town gave you the capacity to be who you are today. The luxuries of being a champagne socialist, the luxuries of being a capitalist communist. Okay? Remember, AOC sells sweatshirts that says tax the rich, and the sweatshirts are $80 a pop. Okay? She doesn't give them away for free. No, no. Ladies and gentlemen, AOC is the one who's lying about her identity. She was raised as a privileged, entitled, wealthy, little suburban white girl. Embrace your identity, AOC, right? It's everything that she hates. But you see, to do that, AOC would have to fight the toughest political battle of all. The battle against herself. And the facade and lies that she's built up around herself.
I'm a girl from the Bronx.
That would be the toughest battle of all, ladies and gentlemen. No stranger to yapping on the internet, has been quiet as a mouse. In fact, we just checked her AOC account that has nearly 14 million subs on it. Boy, she hasn't posted in 2 full days. Isn't that strange? For somebody who can't ever stop chirping. She was so loud last week, and wow, where'd she go? My entire timeline is AOC being called out as an elitist carpetbagger. It's almost like we got to her. It's like we literally destroyed her, ladies and gentlemen. AOC now getting very upset about this, and they know that this is a campaign killer. She plans on running for president in 2028. She doesn't have a good answer to this. She has no good answer. She tried to explain it away. It's very interesting, this post that Klein was just showing. She tried to explain it away. No, I totally did talk about where I'm from. I did, I promise you. I do, I talk about it. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, like, we have the receipts. You don't. You say you were raised in the Bronx. That's your exact words. You say you're a Bronx girl. You said this week you're a Bronx girl. And that you did a Queen's boy for breakfast. Chirping at Donald Trump. Boy, we shut that mouth, didn't we? And we all did it together. So I just want to say, together, we did the impossible, which is to shut up AOC. Cheers for us. All right. It's crazy. It's crazy that she hasn't responded to it. It's crazy. This is AOC bait, baby. AOC bait. Okay, we're going to talk about the communist mayor of New York City in just a moment. First, ladies and gentlemen, American financing. You know, the communist mayor of the communist mayor, soon to be mayor of New York, is planning on taxing white people more than anyone else. Whew. I think it's going to be very, very bad for the finances of those in New York. Get ready for total and complete societal collapse. But you shouldn't be collapsed wherever you live, even if you live in New York. My friends at American Financing can help you get back on your feet if you happen to find yourself, like so many other American families, deep into debt. Credit card debt is out of control in this nation. What if you could delay your next 2 mortgage payments and pay off your credit card debt? My friends at American Financing are fixing the financial problems in this country that are plaguing good, hardworking American families, the actual hardworking American families. Most Americans are putting these expenses on credit cards. It doesn't have to be that way. Even though there seems like there's no way out, there actually is. American Financing can show you how to use your home's equity to pay off your debt. All you need to do is call American Financing today before you get to the point where you can't make any payments. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are helping homeowners just like you restructure their loans and consolidate their debt. No upfront fees. And their customers are saving an average of $800 a month. It's like $1,000 rates per month. It's fast and it's simple. And it can save your budget for the summer. Call now before it's too late. 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219 at AmericanFinancing.net/Benny. All right, ladies and gentlemen. More Zoran Mondani. Let's chat about it. He decided to take our reporting last week. We did a lot of reporting last week. Goodness. ALX and Klein. We were all over the place. We spoke with, and we were the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice. I said, is it legal to tax people based on their skin color? It seems a little crazy, because we read that AOC's best friend, somebody that she campaigned with, Zoran Mondani, plans to tax white people more. And boy, the statement was wild. Alex, can I please get that re-upped, please? The statement from Harmeet Dillon was very interesting. She said, of course, this is illegal and will be a... There it is. Thank you. Illegal in the United States. I'm reading you a quote given to us from Harmeet Dillon. She is the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. The illegal discriminatory scheme described by Mandami would violate federal constitutional and statutory norms and might violate New York law. Oh boy, goodness gracious. That flew too. 1 million views on that, 16,000 reposts, 54,000 likes. Okay. Well, it seems like if you effed around, you still got to find out. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Zorhan deciding that he's going to actually double down on taxing white people. Please, let's continue with this bold strategy, Cotton. See how it plays out for you.
And realize there's a policy proposal that says your plan, and I'm going to quote it for folks, is to shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race, it's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed. We've seen time and again that this is a property tax system that is inequitable. It's one that actually Eric Adams ran on saying that he would change in the first 100 days. He's since sought to defend it and lost at every juncture in court.
And I understand you're saying we're simply describing the types of neighborhoods that would see these increase in taxes, and yet by invoking race, do you run the risk of potentially alienating key constituents?
I think the thing that motivates me in this is to create a system of fairness. It is not to work backwards from a racial assessment of neighborhoods or our city. Rather, it's to ensure that we actually have an equal playing field. And right now what we see with the property tax system is one that is overtaxing a number of New Yorkers and undertaxing others, and an inability of political will to resolve that.
So no plans to change that language on your website?
The focus here is to actually ensure a fair property tax system, and that the use of that language is just an assessment of the neighborhood.
All right.
Cool, bro. Let's see how that works out for you. We got some friends at the DOJ. They are very interested in this because, of course, taxing people based on their skin color, especially when it's explicitly stated on his damn website. And here it is. Right here, let's read the actual website language, shall we? Whiter neighborhoods is the terminology used on the dude's website. Mandami, dubbed the Fidel Castro of New York, is planning to soak the rich based on, and I quote, richer and whiter neighborhoods will be taxed more. Dude, I don't know, man. What do you think? Price is white. Look at that. That's a great cover. You scroll down to the New York Post cover. That's perfect. What do you think here? Like, where we're living, this county is called Hillsborough County here. It's Tampa, Florida. It flipped red this year. And that trend is going to stay for the rest of my life. I'm sure of that. That's happening all over the state of Florida. That's why I decided to move my family. Do we just abandon our great American cities? Do we just let this happen? Obviously, you could sue them, you know. You could put them in prison for this and many other. Obviously, there's other problems with the guy's background. Andy Ogles was on the program last week, said that he was joining communist clubs while he was trying to become a naturalized American citizen and lying on his naturalization forms, calling for denaturalization. That'd be interesting. But, like, do we just, like, abandon Chicago? Do we abandon L.A.? Do we abandon New York? I would argue no. I would argue no, quite thrivingly. The reason why is because they're our cities. They don't belong to these people. These people are parasites. I love what President Trump did to save L.A., the future of the country. The battle will be fought on the streets of L.A., because L.A. is patient zero for everything they want to do for everywhere else in the nation. If we let them take LA, they won't stop. People are cancer. And sometimes that takes pain. There's pain you saw in LA. A lot of people getting shot in the balls, honestly, by rubber bullets. We've covered that. It's pretty amazing. I really do want to ask. Maybe we'll ask Tom Homan. Tom Homan will be on the show. This is a perfect time to ask Tom Homan. Are they aiming for the nuts? We don't know. But we do know this, that you can't just give up on your countrymen. And so maybe there does need to be like some short-term pain. Maybe the people of New York need to actually see what it looks like when every billionaire leaves. Every single one of them comes to Florida, and every business leaves. And the skyscrapers start crumbling downtown. Maybe that's what must happen for these kind of things to change. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. But I do know this. This ain't the talk. This is not the talk of any red-blooded American. Here's Zoran saying, no more billionaires.
You are a self-described democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality. And ultimately, what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer for all of them.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, no billionaires. Billionaires should be illegal. Boy, where have I heard that before? Oh yeah, the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. Where have I heard this before? Oh yeah, Maoist China. Fidel Castro. It's incredible that is happening here. Donald Trump, of course, going hard in the paint.
What did you make of the New York Democrat primary? I'm Donnie.
He's a communist. I think it's very bad for New York. I don't know that he's going to get in. It's inconceivable that but he's a communist, and he's a pure communist. I think he admits it. But I can't imagine it. But let's say this. If he does get in, I'm going to be president, and he's going to have to do the right thing, or they're not getting any money. He's got to do the right thing. It's shocking that I would have assumed that I used to say we will never have a socialist in this country. No, but we'll have a communist. I mean, he's a communist. He's going to be mayor of New York. So I was very surprised when I said, I never heard of him. I don't know who he is.
Well, he said he's going to fight ICE. He's not going to allow ICE to... He'll be very unsuccessful. And he said if Benjamin Netanyahu comes to New York, he's going to have him arrested.
Oh, he's a radical left lunatic.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now is somebody who can comment on these issues, given the fact that, well, he has to work in the same building as so many of the AOC squad members. He has to manage that left wing of the House and of the political ecosystem, and he's done a damn fine job doing it. Straight from the field in D.C., somebody who served President Trump as Deputy Press Secretary, somebody who's currently Senior Communication Advisor to Speaker Mike Johnson. The great Hogan Gidley joins the show now. Ah, yes, Hogan. Very exciting times today to be working in your profession, because it's kind of like duck hunting, right? When on a really good day, when there's just too many targets, and it's a target-rich environment, man. We decided to have a little bit of fun with AOC this past weekend and expose her for the fraud that she is. That's since gone viral. I think we're going to do a whole series of squad members, actually. I think the next will be Jasmine Crockett. Would you recommend that, Hogan?
Of course. It's long been my contention that the more of Jasmine Crockett, the more we have of AOC, the better off our party is going to be, because the American people get to see that jarring juxtaposition of policies that clearly improve the lives of all Americans, regardless of race, religion, color, or creed, or the raving lunacy from so many on the left who have now gravitated toward the issues that 20% at most in this country actually like. I mean, just from a political, pragmatic standpoint, you'd think sooner or later they would say, hey, you know what, let's try and meet the voters where they are. Nope. They're just doubling down on dumb, and it's going to be a real problem for them in upcoming elections.
You know, it's interesting because, they are the Democrat Party. It's all I ever see in my timeline, man. I mean, maybe I live in a bubble, but all I ever see is Ilhan Omar, Jasmine. I don't hear about any Democrats. You never hear anything from Hakeem Jeffries. It's just them chirping, and I say give it to them. You know,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And every time someone on the House side says we don't. I hate that their voice is out there. I'm like, no, that needs to be out there because you need to understand your opponent, and your opponent on the Democrat side right now is clearly focused and fixated on leaving the border wide open. They don't care if your taxes go up. They're voting against the big, beautiful bill that's got no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. So they want the working man and woman to not take home more of their own money. They sure don't care about energy exploration that made us the world's net exporter of energy. They don't care about more money for cops or ICE agents or Customs Border Protections. I mean, in fact, they call those folks Nazis. They call those folks members of the KKK. Now, again, this has always been so ridiculous to me because if you don't like Donald Trump as president doing what the president of the United States is supposed to do, which is enforce the law, you can change the law. You're Congress. But they don't want to be on record doing that. They'd rather just lob insults, mock and deride our side for actually doing the thing that the Constitution outlines us to do, which is enforce the law from the executive branch. And if the laws say you got to go home and you have to be deported, then by God, that's exactly already secured the border. No one's coming across. This big, beautiful bill has money for the wall, has money for these agents, as I mentioned, to keep the place safe along the southern border.
So I got a question for you, and it's just sort of I don't know, man, like rubber hits the road politics question. If you could just put on your campaign hat for a second. And my question is this. Here's a photo of Sandy. Sandy's a girl who was raised in a wealthy, beautiful, safe, clean, white neighborhood inside of a very dignified Westchester, leafy county. And Sandy has decided that she wants to be a communist from the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't quite know how to tell that story because her upbringing doesn't really align with that. Would you recommend that she run as a communist from the Bronx? Because eventually you're going to get called out like Kamala Harris saying she worked the fries at McDonald's, which is exactly what's happening right now.
Well, your segment notwithstanding, which was brilliant, by the way, and pointed to kind of some of the hypocrisies here, why would you do that, Benny? If the media's not going to call you out for it, they're going to continue to push your lie and push your narrative, just like Joe Biden is the most brilliant president we've ever had. He's been in office for half of the century. He's not sick. He think he's not physically or mentally up to this job. They're going to cover for her. They're going to carry her water. How she wants to run and how she wants to package herself. I mean, she's already put out all these videos like the high-minded AOC, as high as that can go. There's a low ceiling, but still she tries to do that and then say, look, I'm going to maybe run for president one day. And by the way, I'm here to tell you, don't mock it. Remember, they mocked Trump. He could never run for president. When he did, it was a joke. And then he won the nomination, won the presidency. I'm telling you, they're looking to people like AOC, those young, fresh faces, to really bring the party into the new era. The problem is what they're talking about has been tried and has been proven to fail time and time again. They still continue to embrace it because, it hadn't been done the way they want it to be done. That's the real issue, of course. But AOC, again, I say more of it. Do it.
Yeah, I think it's going to backfire, like the Kamala fries. I think it's going to be I think it's pretty obvious to everybody. But she keeps chirping that she's a Bronx girl, but she's not, man. I mean, she was raised an absolute elitist in a place that you should be very proud of. But it's really weird. Just final question on this. Can you explain, like, what is that pathology? Right? Like, you have an enviable upbringing. Why does every Democrat have to dumb down and like act as though they're from the gutter, right? Yeah. Like and yeah, I went to community college, all right. But what is that pathology? Why can't people just own it? I thought they were all. They are like, isn't that?
Of
it
course.
seems very. strange.
Yeah, but no. I mean, there's a great study by Yale years ago that said when Democrats get in front of crowds, they change the affect of their voice, whereas Republicans don't. And we know it today as code switching. We saw Kamala Harris do it. We've seen AOC do it a bunch. She talks differently in front of different crowds. So it makes sense that as she is kind of getting into this and a little bit lesser known, then all of a sudden she blew up. She wants to create her own narrative about where she's from. But it's the same with this guy from New York who just got the Democratic nomination for mayor, trying to pretend as though he's, you know, from the slums. His parents, his mom, was a movie mogul, for heaven's sake. Like, what are you talking about? But they like to try, and look, and I'll tell you, you'll remember this. Remember Mitt Romney, those days when he was the nominee. We had to all suck it up and work for Mitt Romney and try to promote him. He was like, no, I'm not really wealthy. You don't understand. He had car elevators and a dancing horse named Rafalka, and he didn't own it. Trump comes down in a golden escalator in his building and goes, you better believe I'm rich, and I want everyone else to be rich, and here's how I'm going to help you do it. He embraced what he was. These folks on the Democrat side, for some reason, they want to paint some narrative that isn't real. It's just fake, and it's phony, and it should tell you so much about their policies as well.
So the policies, wildly, are... Oh, I think we might have actually a photo of Falca. Yeah, okay, here we go. Very good. This is here you go. Well, why didn't you could have just owned it. It's probably would have still lost, but you could have just owned it.
So good.
So good. Okay. What? Oh, thank God for Donald Trump. Oh, that was our party not too long ago.
That's right.
Okay, so the party of the Democrats today, you have this. You have Zoran Mandami, who's the same, by the way, he's the DSA. He's the same party as AOC is from. Right? So, so it's the same party. Mm-hmm. And he's saying, not only am I going to tax white neighborhoods more, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do even more of that, right? I'm going to find the whitest of people, right? I'm going to make sure there's going to be a little card. So like the Peter Griffin meme, there's going to be a little card to see what your tax rate is, and if you're way up here this white, you're going to pay a lot of taxes. Seems patently illegal. Seems like something that obviously is a violation of many statutes in the Civil Rights Code. Should we be expecting perhaps investigations into this? Because he's doubling and tripling down.
I would hope so. It's just so widely accepted by members of his party. As I said, they're going to cover for him. They're going to carry his water. But it's clearly, this is kind of where the universities ran into some problems, right? When you're overtly saying we're going to favor one group over the other, that's a problem. Now, this thing in New York is interesting because, as you know, a majority of his voters were white, rich elitists. No one else voted for him. Now he's coming back and trying to gain some of the poorer, white, wealthy people. Okay, but then are the white, wealthy people that self-loathing to say, sure? Are, of course, you as the candidate, us as the white elitists, none of the things you're talking about apply to us anyway, of course, naturally. So let's just focus on the poor and the middle class and push them further down. I just don't know. I don't know where that goes and how that kind of, I'm looking for this third-party candidate. I'm looking at Eric Adams. I'm looking to see if Cuomo makes another run as an independent as well. So I don't know, but it's that. What's the quote from H.L. Mencken that's so good about that democracy is the idea that the common people know what they want and they deserve to get it good and hard. Well, the people in New York, they're going to get some of that sweet, sweet democracy good and hard if they elect this guy, and they're going to be in a whole lot of trouble moving forward.
I know on some level it's so useful.
Yeah.
It's such a caricature. It's so useful. Here's the quote. Democracy is the theory that the common people know exactly what they want and they deserve to get it good and hard.
There you go.
H.L. Mencken. Okay. So let's talk about someone who boy is probably going to get it from this program, because we're going to go to her district next. Jasmine Crockett is up with a clip. I've never seen Trump do this. He just posted a clip. No commentary, just a clip. Here it is. Now, since you have to work with her, Jasmine explaining the strike in Iran from our president.
Our I'm the one that's supposed to make the fucking decision or at least get a vote. Because Ron is telling me. Right. So literally, like,
and this clip taken directly from World Star. We wanted to sort of get your thought on this. Like, wow, interesting. Is she right here, Hogan?
Well,
is she the
first
one
of
to get the effing vote? Like literally,
literally, like there's like a thing with like literally more code switching. You see her with her voice and her affect completely different than it is when she's doing other interviews. It's fine.
Exactly
right.
Right.
Into the crowd, I get it. But also, she's just completely wrong and false. And again, I haven't heard her say anything to the effect. I don't think she was in Congress then, but still, Congress didn't have a problem with Barack Obama waging a bombing campaign or Joe Biden bombing a family. He told us we're terrorists. We found out they weren't. It's a bunch of kids. No one said a word about that. Bill Clinton famously bombed an aspirin factory, waged war for a while. No one said anything about that. There's even some question, actually, from constitutional scholars whether the war powers that fall under Congress is constitutional at all, because it falls under the commander in chief, the president of the United States. So a lot of these questions at play, but I'm not going to take any advice, and I'm sure not going to take any constitutional knowledge away from a conversation with Jasmine Crockett.
What about AOC? AOC says that she's going to impeach Trump because he blew up Iran's nuclear capacity. Any thoughts on that? Does Mike Johnson agree with that?
Again, what? I don't know what any of that means. AOC should know better than that. But again, I think they're playing a part. It's not that they really believe this kind of junk, because they didn't have a word to say about it when Joe Biden was president. It's so obviously hypocrisy. It's not stunning, but it really is kind of unbelievably weird that they would think we can't notice this in real time, that they don't have other diametrically opposed positions on camera from just a few short months ago. Remember, we're 6 months into this administration. I guess 5, January toward the end. We're not half the year in. And all of a sudden, all of these concerns about the Constitution are popping up. Like Joe Biden, who didn't care what the Supreme Court had to say. He was just going to try and give away college tuition, making people who didn't go to college pay for those who did. Like no one cared about that. Obviously, all of his bombing campaigns, as I mentioned before, Barack Obama famously with the drones. It just is insanity that these people think we don't know what's going on here, but they continue to pretend as though there's no Wayback Machine, there's no Google, there's no YouTube. It's nuts.
We found out where AOC was from on Wikipedia, man. It's really not hard. Okay, the global media. We had to fly up there and do it, ourselves. But whatever. Thank you actually for just leaving that out there. It's it is a target-rich environment. It does seem there's so much to fight on the other side, but Republicans continue to fight themselves. Can't even pass a rescission package to defund NPR PBS. I want to talk a little bit about that and the big beautiful bill, where the landscape looks. Obviously, you did a great job. Speaker Johnson's office, everyone was cheering that DOGE cuts finally got enacted. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about those first, Hogan. Where are those in the Senate?
Well, it's everything from the Gulf of America to, as you point out, the cuts to NPR, PBS. House passed them, and they went to the Senate side. So, in a year's time, when everyone's like, wait a minute, where are the DOGE cuts? I can't believe the House did. No. The House did its job and got them over to the Senate. It's up to the Senate now to pass them, to get these things enacted. Simple, low-hanging fruit. We know these two entities, for example, are propaganda arms of the left. It has been proven time and time again. So what's the issue? These are questions and concerns I think a lot of constituents have, because remember, the House Republicans, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and the Senate Republicans all ran on and won on.
Let's get fiscal. Lesson 2, credit card combat. Getting your finances together? Learn to master your money with Credit Karma today for a stronger tomorrow. Defend yourself against generic advice and one-size-fits-all recommendations. Credit Karma gathers offers from trusted partners, helping you quickly pin down the cards and loans that are right for you so you can build those money muscles. Harness the power of Credit Karma today to win your financial future tomorrow.
Ending fraud, waste, and abuse in the federal government. Now, is this stopping all of it? No, but these DOGE cuts, which were eye-opening, eye-popping to a lot of folks, need to be enacted in order to claw back some of that money that's being used for propaganda. And I don't remember if we talked about this or not, but you remember when all the algorithms on Facebook, as you know, you're a digital genius, the algorithms on Twitter, every time they had a mistake or there was a glitch, it always glitched against conservative voices. Did you notice when they started looking at U.S.A. and other things in the government, there was not a single dollar that went to pro-Second Amendment groups or pro-life groups. All the money cut one way to all of the leftist causes. And so now that we actually have the power, the levers of power to do the things to make this right, you got to have these chambers come together and say, all right, you guys elected us to do this. Now we need to do it. And so it takes pressure from the outside, your group, your audience. Ping your senator and be like, guys, we voted for you because we thought you would enact these type of cuts because we're sick and tired of using our tax dollars for crazy radical ideologies, not just here in this country, which is bad enough, but all over the world too. Stop it.
No, nobody's explained to me like how a Republican can vote for NPR funding. No one. Like no one's like explained. I don't know. Like I don't know if Mike Rogers wants a show on there or what, but like nobody's explained that to me. I can't figure it out.
Maybe they just like the tones of NPR. Maybe it's all things considered.
But really quickly here, Hogan, big beautiful bill was all the news this weekend. Can you give us a quick update?
Yeah, moving forward really quickly. It looks like the Senate could vote on it by late tonight, maybe midnight or into the early morning hours. Goes back to the House. We'll see what they say. I know that there are plenty of people on the House side that are concerned about some of the things the Senate did, but understand this bill still is about 85% of what was sent over from the House side. The Senate made its tweaks, made its changes. So when it comes back, in order to get this thing accomplished for the president before the 4th, probably going to have a vote by Wednesday or Thursday, maybe Friday morning at the latest, to get this accomplished. But rest assured, if this thing does pass before the 4th, you know and I know, because you know him, that party at the White House on July 4th, on that South Lawn, he's going to do something big around that bill. I could see him signing it just hours before the fireworks, or maybe even during the fireworks, because he understands the beautiful fireworks are going off in the background.
That's amazing. I'm viewing it. I'm like, yep, that's right. Okay, that'll be a rally. Alligator
Yes.
Alcatraz, right? Like,
yeah.
You know,
and coming off of last week, I mean, one of the most successful weeks in presidential history, much less for Donald Trump. Yeah. And then this week, potentially a big, beautiful bill. Come on.
Wild. And then signing the bill during the fireworks. Beautiful. Okay, we're in a vision cast for that, all right? We're going to manifest, Hogan. We're going to manifest, okay? There's two country boys manifesting a fireworks signing of the big, beautiful bill. Godspeed, Hogan. We know you have your work cut out for you up there. Everybody needs to follow J. Hogan Gidley right here. Nearly 100,000 Americans already do. Make sure you're in there fighting for the people that fight for us. Godspeed, Hogan.
Thank you much, Ben. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, somebody who knows New York at the back of his hand, somebody who's served as the New York Council, former New York City Council. Is it the correct title? Former New York City Council GOP is what I got in the script. Let's ask Joe Borelli, ladies and gentlemen, joining the show live. Joe, can you please explain here? I got former council, New York City GOP, former New York City Council GOP leader. There we go, from your Twitter bio. Got Joe's title right. Joe, how you doing, man?
Living the dream, brother. Living the dream. Thanks for having me.
Are you a lifelong New Yorker?
Born and raised in the same zip code on Staten Island. My wife and I, we
from somewhere else. You weren't raised like in Connecticut, inside of like a leafy suburb, and you're just fake being a New Yorker?
No, but I mean, Staten Island is basically the suburbs, but it is still part of New York City. I have like a bass pond behind my house and like 12 miles of mountain bike path and stuff like that, so it's pretty good over here.
My man. Okay, so Staten Island is Republican, though, which is interesting. Yeah, this is Trump country, right?
Yeah, very much. I mean, Donald Trump and Trump Sr., his father, Fred, used to own buildings on Staten Island. He grew up, he tells a great story to us about how he used to empty the vending machines in some of the apartment buildings on Staten Island. And he has a deep connection here, and we're happy to host him whenever he comes back.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I wonder what's going to happen next. I think that President Trump has already taken a couple shots across the bow at Zoran Mandani. This is going to be a pretty wild run for New York. Can you set the table for us? Like, is this guy got a chance of winning? The betting markets say he's odds on.
Well, it's 6-1 Democrats and Republican enrollment in New York City. So, I mean, he is on paper the odds-on favorite. The reality is, let's talk about who he is first. He's someone who was a backbench member of the state assembly. Now, the New York State Assembly is legislative bodies. It's one of the most progressive legislative bodies in the country. He was a backbencher because he was too far left. A socialist. He was someone who didn't really pass any bills because the bills he would introduce were like, seizing the means of productions and stuff like that. Most liberals just want to pay lip service to socialism. This guy really wants to implement a great day for the socialist minority of New York City. So he runs for mayor. He runs, in fairness, one of the most effective campaigns I have ever seen. He really was a brilliant campaigner. He used new social media techniques. He used old school things like just knocking on doors, walking around neighborhoods, things that his primary opponent, Andrew Cuomo, didn't do, right? Andrew Cuomo didn't go to a single debate, stayed locked up in his ivory tower, is not even living in New York City. He moved in right before he had to, before the deadline. So Mamdani runs a very effective campaign. And now, because of the collapse of Cuomo, who's bad for his own right, that's the subject of a whole other episode. But because of the collapse of Cuomo and the other zilches who ran the primary, now we have this guy, Zoran, who's probably going to win the mayorship, unfortunately.
So, we've never met, but you seem like a pretty nice person. You also happen to, as I'm looking at you, you seem to be a white person, and it seems like you might get taxed more. And, I'm not trying to make any assumptions here, but given the fact that Zoran Mandani is just going to tax people based on what they look like, here is the price is white the policy, that he does plan on taxing whiter neighborhoods more. What do you think about that as a white New Yorker?
Well, let's talk about why it's stupid for so many reasons, right? It is stupid because this is just a rehashing of a proposal that's long been advocated by a lot of people in New York City, just without racial terms. You take neighborhoods with, in Park Slope and Williamsburg, the places where they make rom-com movies and where everyone wears a keffiyeh and has a Palestinian flag. You take those neighborhoods, and those are the ones who are going to get killed by Zoran's property tax increase. And that's the problem, is that those neighborhoods are filled with what they would consider white gentrifiers. But that's the only New York Zoran is even aware of. That's the only New York he even considers. He's unaware that there is a grand swath of outer borough, middle-class, regular New Yorkers, white, black, Hispanic, that lived in eastern Queens and where I'm from in Staten Island and the northern Bronx, that actually benefit from his tax proposal. They would actually benefit. And yet he can't get around to even saying, hey, we're just going to equalize the property tax system. It might be a great thing. He has to frame things in a racist messaging idea where it's not that taxes are unequal for certain people and we should equalize them. Right? It's that a lot of rich white people are paying too little. That's the really fundamental problem with the way he sees the world. It's really the way he views New York and how it operates. That is single issue that made a New York headline over the past 5 or 6 years since he got elected to office. Literally everything you'd see on Fox News or whatever, talking about how crazy New York is with this law or that law, he's been on the wrong side of every single one of them, and now this is included in that list just because he only frames it in racist terms.
It does seem like such a regressive way and such an illegal way to view the populace. It's obviously subject to civil rights review. Harmy Dillon saying that this is patently illegal, and if he continues with it, that he's going to be facing potentially a DOJ prosecution. You can't just like tax people because of their skin color.
No, and he should face that.
It's like insane, but this is what New York City voted for. So this is my major question, because it doesn't actually affect me, right? Yeah. It does, because New York City is the empire city and the empire state, and it should be something great, and the entire world should look at New York City as a beacon on a hill. It is America's largest and most prominent and famous city. I don't want to see it destroyed, man. But I guess this is a question for you, since you live there. Like, does it have to be destroyed? Like, does the people of New York have to suffer from this, good and hard, in order for it to change, like the way that you get a Rudy Giuliani, right? Like, New York City had to descend into madness. Is this the cycle that your city, unfortunately, has to go through, or is there a way out?
Yeah. First time 4 years before he was elected and didn't win because the city wasn't as in a dire situation as it was after 4 years of David Dinkins. It took 4 years of doubling down on bad policies to allow a Republican, a conservative, to actually win the mayoralty of this fundamentally liberal city. That's what you're seeing now. You know, and I hate to compare him to Bill de Blasio, but if you look at Bill de Blasio's re-election, the reason why Bill de Blasio kind of won is because things didn't really get that bad that quickly. Things just kind of petered out and didn't get too aggressively, crime oriented. We didn't see that stuff happen until the end of Bill de Blasio's term, when the pandemic sort of accelerated that. Now you've had 4 years of Eric Adams, good or bad. Right, but things have, maybe gotten better in some things, maybe got better in another thing. But New Yorkers are similarly faced with their backs against the wall by someone who is so fundamentally hell-bent on changing this city for the worst. Again, he ran a great campaign, and he talked about issues that actually mattered to New Yorkers: the affordability, the cost of living, the idea that you can't really afford to raise your family here. All that resonates with people. The problem is his solutions only expand these problems and propagate them for the next generation. He is a fundamentally flawed person because of his ideas. So I think because New Yorkers are going to have their back against who is the person who can beat him. Because now we have a situation where Andrew Cuomo refuses to get out of the race. You have a situation where the Republicans are running Curtis Lewa, and we have that Cuomo got beaten so bad that he would reconsider even running, and apparently labor unions are fleeing from him, billionaires are fleeing from him, so it's unclear who he's going to have in his corner without labor union providing the labor and billionaires supplying the money. I really hope that whatever the first couple of polls show, if Eric Adams has a real shot at beating Zohran Mamdani, I hope Republicans coalesce around him. Frankly, I want to see him win over Zohran Mamdani. Likewise, if Curtis Lewa really has the poll numbers to justify people supporting him, I think we should get behind him. But one of those two men has to get out of the race for the good of New York City.
Final question for you. Let's say that he does win. What happens to the city? It's not like guaranteed. Anybody who knows, right? And we're very close with the mayor of Miami, and we're very close with a number of people who have run some pretty big companies that have moved to the Miami area. Everybody who knows that Wall Street's like a ghost town now. Most of Wall Street has gone digital and has moved to Palm Beach or the Brickell. And there's no such thing as like guaranteed industries that are going to stay in your city or in your state. There's no such thing as a permanent blue state. There's no such thing as a permanent red state.
Look, I mean,
and so like do you perceive that we're going to like have a reversion to like 1970s New York City, like empty skyscrapers, like empty buildings?
Yes and no. I mean, Francis Suarez is a friend of mine also, great guy. Scott Singer, the mayor of Boca Raton, just on the front page of the Post today, talking about how people should relocate to Florida. But that is the net result of what will happen. If you start taxing people to oblivion and then not provide them with some sort of premium that makes it worth staying. See, that was the secret of Bloomberg. Bloomberg still governed a high-tax city, but the city was well-run, and people were willing to pay a premium to be here and be part of New York. That equation no longer is valid, so you're going to see more flight. I'll be on a plane to Naples, Florida at 6 a.m. tomorrow because that's where we have our second house. I am one of those people, right? But yeah, that is the net result, is that capital and residents will continue to flee New York City. It won't be quick. But New York does lead the pack already in out-migration, and Zorin will certainly be the best real estate salesperson for the South Florida, for Georgia, for Texas, and everywhere in between.
Oh man, it's tough. It's really tough to see. But again, like the people get what they. Yeah, it's like, dude, you get what you vote for. This is wild. These images of New York in the '70s, where it looks just post-apocalyptic, and it looks like the front lines of any war zone. You'd hate to see it revert to this, but it's kind of almost a guarantee. If you give people zero benefits for living in the city, they're going to come down to other great. There are a lot of great American cities, a huge country. They're just going to move, man. And we're in the Bronx. We went viral this weekend by sort of exposing where AOC is from.
Yeah.
Totally fraudulent, man. Like.
I wore my Westchester Country Club shirt just for this reason.
Yo, she's from a beautiful place. Why would you be so ashamed of where you're from? It's clean. It's nice. Can you talk to me about the pathology there on the left? Like, why do they always have to be from? Why do they always have to lie about where they're from? Like, find me a Democrat that hasn't said some type of like lie about their story and tried to deceive, whether it's Kamala at McDonald's or whether it's Hillary Clinton's entire young life was clearly fraudulent. What is this pathology, man? Why can't these people just embrace their identity, right?
Because they lionize victimhood. So you can't grow up in a wonderful place like Yorktown Heights in Westchester, right, and still play a victim. I mean, Yorktown Heights was where, like, we would play football against teams from there, from, like, northern Westchester County, and those were the places where all the dads would like, get their kids to go to high-end coaching and special things, and they'd run over us. Like, Westchester County is the archetype of the American suburb. Like, it is where Robert Moses built. Like, this is the Dick Van Dyke Show was filmed in Westchester County. I mean, this is how, archetypical American suburb you can possibly be. This is the whitest place on planet Earth, like, when you think about it. And yet that just wasn't part of the story they had to create about AOC. They had by the Democratic Party, and unfortunately people just spoon it up, just like Zoran Mamdani. He's born to Ugandan billionaires. He just got married in Dubai. Like, I didn't get married I got married in a Mexican all-inclusive, right? This guy's getting married in Dubai, and he wants to be. It's ridiculous.
It's such a great point. It's such a great point. I don't get it, man. I just embrace your roots. I don't see like why you would tell such an obvious lie. And it's not like she's saying that I live in the Bronx now. It's that she said multiple times on the record, much like Kamala Harris, like, I worked at McDonald's, you can prove that that's a lie. She said, I was raised in the Bronx. I was raised in the Bronx. I'm a Bronx girl. Just last week, she was chirping, chirp, chirp, chirp at Donald Trump. I'm a Bronx girl. I'm a Bronx girl. You don't know how to handle me. Like, lady, you're not a Bronx girl. You went from Westchester to Boston University for an economics degree. You won science projects. You won science projects, okay? Like, it's just such a fraudulent lie. I don't know why New Yorkers buy it, man.
I don't know, but look, she's been great for the Republican Party, and I think Zoran Mamdani is going to be great for the Republican Party too, because he is going to be. You mentioned it with Hogan earlier. It's a target-rich environment, and this guy is going to be just stepping on rakes for the next 4 years. Unfortunately, I'm here for it because I'm going to be with the one foot in the bills, but it is going to be great for the Republican Party organizations in the Carolinas and Florida and everywhere who gets to say, look, we're not that. Because anything that's not that, it's probably going to do well over the next 4 years.
Man. Well, you know what? Here's prayers up for you, man. Sounds like you got a little place in Florida anyway, so make sure that you have one foot out the door. Be careful. And please rejoin the show anytime, Joe, because, man, it'd be very interesting to hear updates. I think there's going to be a lot of eyes trained on this. Donald Trump obviously went berserker mode on Zorhan this last weekend, so we look forward to that. Joe, thank you, and you're welcome back anytime. 60,000 Americans follow Joe on X. You should be one of them. He's one of the people holding it down in New York. We look forward to your mayoral run sometime soon, Joe.
Thank you so much.
My man. Ladies and gentlemen, very excited for our next guest on the program, possibly the single most successful man in President Trump's administration. And I'm saying a lot. We have a ton of friends who work in this administration, but nobody can say that they've done what Tom Homan has done. Tom Homan is, of course, President Trump's border czar. He's also the architect of the most successful Trump policy to date, with a zero, we're talking full goose egg, border crossings locked in last month. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us live now, border czar Tom Homan. I want to begin by saying congratulations, Mr. Border Czar. Zero. I don't anyone watching has seen the border crossings for criminal aliens at zero. Congratulations.
God, we got the most secure border in the history of the nation right now because of President Trump's leadership. I knew, we could quickly secure the border once we got back into power. But the speed that happened, in 7 weeks, we had border crossings down over 90%. That's unprecedented. So today, we got the most secure border in the history of the nation. And now we're concentrating on those who got through or were released the past 4 years, that we find them and remove them. So a lot of concentration right now in interior enforcement operations.
Just digging down one layer there, can you please explain that strategy? We have the numbers right here. Last year, there were 62,000 criminal aliens crossing in the exact same month. 365 days later, zero. How did this happen, Mr. Borzar?
Because we're enforcing the law. We decided from day one, all you got to do is enforce the law. Look, Joe Biden could have done this if he just enforced the existing law. Catch and release. The federal statute clearly says if you arrive at our border and you don't have proper documentation to enter our country, you shall be detained. Not maybe, not think about it, release them to an NGO. No, you're going to be detained. What we did, you got third state, we got the Remain in Mexico. It was implemented within days. So we simply did what we did in Trump 45, except we did it quicker. Of course, we learned all the lessons from Trump 45, mistakes that were made, things we could have done better. So this time, it moved quicker. But we basically enforce law. The answer is enforce the law. You don't need Congress to pass a bunch of laws. It'd be great if they did, to make it permanent so next president can't come in and undo it. But Joe Biden could have done this. All he had to do is enforce the law. He didn't make this up. So that's how we did it. Everybody said, what's the secret? The secret is we enforce the law. We end the catch and release. We send a message to the whole world. If you come to the United States illegally, you're not being released. If you want to claim asylum, fine. You wait in Mexico, claim asylum. When your hearing comes, you can have your hearing. But no longer are you going to release the United States to not show up in court. No longer are you going to be released in the United States to maybe show up in court, get order removal, which 90% of asylum seekers end up with an order removal. Then they're in the wind. You can't find them. We ended that. We have the most secure border in the history of this nation, and it's incredible how quick the men and women of the Border Patrol, I give them the credit. They're out there every day enforcing law. They're finally getting to do the job they took an oath to do, rather than processing people for release, taking them to the airport, and sending them to their final destination at taxpayer expense. Those days are over.
Let's talk really quickly about the excellent agents of ICE. Turns out right now that CNN is pushing an app to track ICE agents to help criminal aliens evade being detained. We have the article up right here along with the clip. What's your response to CNN?
It's disgusting. I cannot believe we're in a world where the men and women who enforce the law are the bad guys, and one who broke the law, they're victims. And look, it's already a dangerous job. ICE agents are arresting the worst of the worst. President Trump committed from day one. We're going to concentrate our effort on public safety threats and national security threats. So right there, the job's already dangerous. But when you're out there tracking ICE movements and giving people a heads up they're coming, that just puts the danger at a whole new level. It's only a matter of time for someone sits in hiding and waits for an ICE agent and tries to take them out. This is horrendous that a national media outlet will be out there trying to forecast law enforcement operations throughout the country. I mean, it's incredible where we're at as a nation, and I think DOJ needs to look at this and see if they're crossing that line. I think we need to send a strong message that we need to protect the law enforcement personnel.
You're accessory to murder. If you know that a crime is going to go on, you don't do anything to stop it. You assist in the evasion of the murderer and the criminal. You can be an accessory. You can go and do some real hard time. How does this not make CNN and everybody who does this, because there are other accounts that track ICE and try and rat on where ICE is and what they're doing? We saw the bricks, sticks, rocks, and Molotov cocktails being thrown at your agents to murder that. We have the footage. You can see it clear as day. It's attempted murder. Thankfully, many of them are arrested. But Mr. Holman, how these crimes, these criminal aliens?
No, look, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think, I'm not a prosecutor. I'm the board czar, but I think DOJ is looking at it. DOJ, we had I think last count over 600 arrests in LA. The federal government has prosecuted people for assaulting ICE agents. We prosecuted people for doxing agents. So DOJ is on top of this. So I think DOJ will come to the point where these people will be held accountable. It takes a little bit, but I know Pam Bondi's all over it. I know Kash Patel is actually working with ICE leadership to search those people who put death threats, not only myself, but women of ICE. So they're all over it. And President Trump's leaning into it. And I met President Trump last week. He's given all available resources to hold these people accountable.
News broke last night, yesterday evening, late in the evening, Mr. Bordazar, that President Trump will be personally visiting what is named Alligator Alcatraz, not too far from where we broadcast here in the state of Florida.
How you doing?
Can you preview that for us? That's quite a deterrence. You talk about deterrence in your opening answer. Being surrounded by a bunch of alligators in a swamp, in a mosquito-infested Florida swamp, that's a hell of a deterrence right there.
Yeah, not only that, I think the cost of the facility is really reasonable, because even though we're asking for more money in the big beautiful bill, we're trying to spread that money as far and wide as we can to get in a decent bed rate, because we pay a lot for beds. And Governor DeSantis, let me give a shout out for Governor DeSantis from day one. He's been lockstep with us.
Yes,
I mean,
tomorrow.
He has required through legislation,
I cannot wait.
law, that every sheriff and chief of police work with ICE. They're not allowed, to walk away from us.
It's
I said many times, well, we can send more resources to sanctuary cities like New York, and less resources in Florida. We'll get every sheriff working with us in Florida. We don't have public safety threats being released from county jails every day in Florida. So where do we guys send more resources to New York City, where they're knowingly releasing public safety threats back in the community? So Governor DeSantis has been up front. He's the tip of the spear on all the governors helping. I mean, Governor, the Texas Governor Abbott's doing a great job. Governor DeSantis has been amazing, and they're building this with their funds. Of course, there'll be a reimbursement. The money that we used to give to NGOs and hotels, all these aliens at $500 a night, being spent on Alligator Alcatraz is the right thing to do. And you're right, the near knowledge of these people being detained, that you can escape, try to escape. But it's not a real good idea. I mean, that just adds a stronger message to the whole world that you can't enter this country legally. It's a crime. If we catch you, you're going to be detained, you're going to be deported, and detention is going to be in places like El Salvador and other countries that aren't so friendly. So we're going to do everything we can to send a strong message. It's not okay to break the laws of this country. We're going to hold you accountable.
I know that you've worked with President Trump for decades now. You've helped him architect this. You've been so loyal by his side. You know President Trump to be a man of his word. There was a 2019 New York Times article where Donald Trump floated the idea of putting alligators or crocodiles in the Rio Grande in order to prevent people from crossing the border. We remember that article because we thought it was a kick-ass idea. And now you're getting Donald Trump's dream is actually happening. The memes are incredible, by the way. This one's from Homeland Security. This is an official Homeland Security posted meme. This now goes into the congressional record as an official government document. Alligators with ice hats on. Quite a timeline, Mr. Bordazar.
Yeah, and all the people that question, is going too far. I think all these people that question that need to remember what we dealt in the last 4 years. That we know of, 10.5 million illegal aliens came to our border. Millions were released in the United States in violation of federal law. I remember I said, in violation of federal law, they released millions into the country.
Yes,
because they're playing the long game. They said, well, these millions of people will be future Democratic voters, or these millions of people will be counted in the next census. Remember, Joe Biden overturned Trump's census rule. They'll be counted next census, which means more seats. Power. I want people to remember the images of 15,000 people crossing the border in a day. Now we're down to less than 100, and 0 are being released. 0. You look at from January 20th to now, last year, Biden administration released over 260,000. What did we release? 1, and now it's a humanitarian case because I can't get in a specific case, but 1 compared to over 200,000. Yeah, and I think since the beginning of the year, we released a total of 9 people. Here's what people need to know. 4 of them were material witnesses. We wanted them to be released to testify in the cartel hearings. 4, we had to call emergency medical transport because they're in such bad shape, but after they got treated, they were removed. 1 discretionary release since January 20th. And I can't get a specific of that case, but I'm aware of that case, and I agree 100% it had to be done. 1 compared to 250,000. That's what President Trump has done to our border. We're a sovereign nation. President Trump commits to protecting our sovereignty as a nation. And look at the crime rate dropping right now. Because we're concentrating on public safety threats and national security threats, crime rates are dropping. We looked at the numbers this morning. We're about over 130,000 illegal aliens arrested in the interior United States, vast majority being criminal. I see these media stories saying, well, the vast majority aren't criminal. It's garbage. If we arrest people, most of them are convicted criminals, or they're pending criminal charges, which means we found them in the county jail, which means they're probably not a choir boy. But the media keeps telling this false story. Every day we arrest a public safety threat removing from the streets, makes that country safer again. Already, Iranian nationals arrested, we're nearly 100. So the men and women of ICE, patriots, all they're doing exactly what President Trump said they're going to do. National security threats and public safety threats. This should be a nonpartisan issue. I don't care if you're a Democrat mayor, a Democrat city council person, a Democrat governor. Why would you not want public safety threats and national security threats removed from your community? That is your number 1 responsibility, is protecting communities. But they're putting politics over public safety. They hate Trump more than they love their communities. There's no other reason for it.
Profound statement. Your last answer, you brought up how many resources have to flood into New York to fix the nightmare that is New York City. And it seems like it's going to get worse, Mr. Borzan. Zorhan Mandani called you out by name and said that he will personally stop ICE from arresting criminal aliens in New York City. This was in his acceptance speech for the Democrat nomination for mayor. Your response to Zorhan Mandani?
Good luck with that. I mean, bottom line is we're not only going to double down, we're going to triple down in New York. Because I was just said a few minutes ago, we know they're releasing public safety threats every day in New York City. We know they're releasing national security threats. So look, we know there's a problem there because we know what they're doing. So we're going to send more resources to New York City. So to him, I would say you're going to see a vast increase in the if we can't arrest a bad guy in Rikers Island, you're going to release him in the community, then that's where we're going to send a workforce. But rather than one agent arresting one community to find him, and we're going to send more teams. So if we can't get into jails, we're going to flood the communities. And we're also going to flood work site. If we can't get them at their home, we'll get them at the work site. So sanctuary cities get exactly what they don't want. More agents in the community and more work site enforcement operations. You could help us. You can let us in a county jail so one agent can arrest one bad guy in the safety and security of a county jail, which is safer for the alien, safer for the officer, much safer for the community. But if he thinks he's going to stop ICE enforcement operation, we'll see. Game on. But you're going to see us flood New York City.
The reason, of course, that it carries so much weight with it is because we watched members of Congress, Democrat members of Congress, LaMonica McIver is one of them, physically fight and assault your agents. These are elected representatives that were throwing elbows, pushing, shoving, clawing at your agents. It's all on TV. It's all on We have the footage. We have the body cam footage from DHS. It's horrible. And then you see, of course, what happens in Los Angeles, where it seems like Democrat leadership was absolving and protecting the people who are trying to murder your agents. It's attempted murder when you throw a brick at a speeding ICE vehicle, obviously.
Well, look, I said from day one, Ben. I said from day one, you cannot like ICE, fine. You cannot support the president's policies, okay, fine, whatever, shame on you. But you can't cross the line. You can't cross the line on knowingly harboring, concealing an illegal alien. You can't cross the line of. You certainly can't cross the line and put your hands on an ICE officer. And as you can see, I wasn't bluffing. We are prosecuting a couple of judges. We are prosecuting members of Congress. We're prosecuting many members of the public. It's not a threat. It's a promise. You cross that line, you be prosecuted for 4 years. All you heard from the left was no one's above the law. President Trump's not above the law. Needs to be held accountable. Guess what? They're not above the law either. You cross that line, we're going to seek prosecution. Zero tolerance. You put a hand on an ICE officer, zero tolerance. We will seek prosecution. You'll be held to the highest standard. Because, you know, again, the most dangerous job is being a law enforcement officer. And it's even more dangerous. We got people out there, you know, forecasting where ICE is going to go in the next hour. Where are they at right now trying to serve warrants? The whole Los Angeles episode it started because we were serving 3 criminal search warrants. It wasn't an immigration raid at all. We were serving 3 criminals search warrants on a money laundering case, a tax evasion case, and customs fraud case. And of course, when we got to that garment district, we did find illegal aliens in the site. We did a search warrant. Yeah, of course they're going to be arrested. We're going to force them all. But it was all mismessaged by the left. And, you know, I want to just, you know, make it clear to all those on the left, all those Democratic representatives in Congress, you're not going to stop us. We're going to do this job. I'm not going anywhere. I got death threats. I had 1,000 protesters at my house. Fine. You want to protest an empty house? Have at it. Tom Homan isn't going anywhere. So men and women of ICE aren't going anywhere. We'll be there today. We're going to be there tomorrow. We got over 100 teams in LA operating right now. We got over 100 teams in New York City operating right now. We're going to double or at least triple that number. So ICE is not going to be bullied for not doing the job. You can attack them all you want. I hate to see that, but if you cross the line, you'll be prosecuted. You can show up and protest all you want. You have the right to protest. You have that. I support the Second Amendment, but you can't, First Amendment, but you can't cross that line. And we're going to hold people accountable. ICE isn't going anywhere, so we're going to keep doing this job. We're proud of the job we're doing, and we're going to keep doing it every single day across this country because, again, every day we do this job, the community's much safer. And you already see the numbers. Fentanyl seizures are decreased over 50%. Sex trafficking is down tenfold. Yep. We are making a difference. Don't expect the terrorists coming across the country. 0. We had over 400 on Joe Biden. We've had since President Trump's been in office. 0. We're going to enforce the law. You know, exercise your First Amendment rights all you want, but don't cross that line, or we will hold you accountable.
Just one final question, Mr. Borzar, and it has to do with the region of New York and somebody who's in the news a lot lately because she's most likely planning on running for higher office and what looks like to us crossed the line a number of times. But 2 very curious stories out of her office. One, as soon as you were able to regain your position as border czar, AOC had a criminal alien who was working in her congressional staff flee the country. Now, I can't quite square how that's possible. How is somebody allowed to be a criminal alien in this country and then go work in Congress where you have access to classified material and you have access to a lot of important information? And then AOC has gone on and obviously taught publicly illegal aliens how to avoid ICE. She's done this with some of her colleagues in the squad. Here's the article of the... Maybe you could just start here, and as an explainer to me and to this audience, like, how's this even possible?
It's not possible, and I know that's being looked at. I can't comment on past that. I'm aware of it. We've asked ICE to drill in on that case. It's my information that there were actually I can't really comment on it. We don't know if it was an illegal status or not at this point. It looks like it might have been temporary status, but I can't comment on the case because it's under investigation. As far as, her educating people how to evade ICE arrest, she's really educating them on how to be prosecuted. Because there are statutes on the books, federal statute, when you knowingly hinder your removal. That's a crime. When you take steps to prevent your removal after being ordered removed by a federal judge, it's a crime. We have instructed ICE to start prosecuting these cases. If you don't want to open the door, and we have a final order removal, if you don't want to participate in getting travel documents for your home nation, you take steps to hinder your own removal, that it's a crime, you'd be prosecuted. So she can claim she's educating people to constitutional rights. I would argue she's educating many people on how to be prosecuted. You're going to see that happening.
All right. Well, we're very much looking forward to it. You've been a man of your word. Our audience deeply respects your is where you can follow Thomas D. Homan. 750,000 Americans already do. He's on his way to 1 million. Let's make sure that he gets 1 million on X and that he gets 1 million deportations this year. Are we still on track, Mr. Borders? Last question.
Yeah. Oh, we have arrested and deported about 3 times more criminals than Joe Biden has already. And as far as X, at Real Tom Homan, there are a couple of fake accounts out there. People are claiming me, but at Real Tom Homan, that's where you find me. You have the White House. There's a White House emblem. I'm certified. So, yeah, to keep track. I don't post a lot. I'm all busy. I was asked last week, are you growing a beard? I said, no, I don't have time to shave. I found time this weekend. I find time this weekend. So, look, God bless President Trump. God bless the men and women of ICE, and God bless the men and women wearing that green uniform on the southern border. 3 o'clock this morning, I was sleeping. You were probably sleeping. We had men and women standing on the line on our southern border, the most secure border in the history of this nation today. So God bless the men and women of the Border Patrol.
Right. Godspeed, Mr. Borders. We are with you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, can't get sick of winning. What do we say? Can't get sick of winning. Just love having Tom Homan on the show. That was fire. My God. We just made some news. Tom Homan calling for the prosecution of CNN. Hello? This is incredible. For assisting in the criminal alien. If there's a criminal, and I know that this is criminal, is running from the law, and I am assisting this criminal, I'm harboring him, but I can read. You're not allowed to do that, and you can get charged for those kind of things.
That's right.
When you're knowingly harboring and assisting in the evasion of law enforcement, and more importantly, putting law enforcement's life at risk, then you are clearly committing a crime. And CNN committing a crime by doing that? Tom Homan breaking news on our show and demanding an investigation. Whew, boy. Hot fire, ladies and gentlemen. Got to make sure that you are stocked and ready with energy in this era. You never know who's going to join the stream. Ladies and gentlemen, the way that we do that is Field of Greens. Field of Greens gives us our absolute mandatory fruits and vegetables. You can't sit there and eat a plate of fruit. You really can't. You can't sit there and eat a plate of vegetables. You don't have time. Ladies and gentlemen, our reds and greens are available for us in a delicious glass of doctor-formulated Field of Greens every single day. You feel amazing. You'll notice improved health or your money back. This is how I am able to just kind of lock in here in the studio and rip right through lunch hour. It's just like the way that I do it. I make sure that I'm getting my vitamins. I make sure that I'm getting way that makes it very easy to keep rocking and rolling. This fruit and vegetable drink will give you better health. Field of Greens, ladies and gentlemen, is doctor selected to support vital organs like your heart, liver, kidneys, metabolism, immune system, and healthy blood cells, so you can keep on rocking in the golden era. Let me get you started with 20% off, free shipping. Visit fieldofgreens.com and use code Benny. Fieldofgreens.com, code BENNY. Let's freaking go. All right, let's end with something that I think also will require a little bit with a beheaded President Trump post.
Yeah,
okay,
really
spinning the oldies. This is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. We've already asked, let's go ahead and check and see if they've gotten back with us. We've already asked the administration what they think about this. We've asked the secret, we're waiting on a response from the Secret Service and the DOJ and the FBI. But here's the post. Kathy Griffin, it's another severed, bloody head. Now, this is President Trump included with Elon Musk, which is right there on the side, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg. There you go. And then Donald Trump. So, seems like an implicit threat on the president's life, every bit of a James Comey style, 86-47. And we really hope that the feds look into this. I'd love for there to be a knock at the door for Kathy Griffin and for her to get like the help that she needs. She's also in the end of the video. Let's just play it out. She's clearly like crying for help here. We know that Kathy Griffin was already interned in a psych ward during her first beheading. And here's just the one. Here's just the one little clip I'll play here. I think that because it's important.
Do you have fear for your career after this storm dies down?
Absolutely. I don't think I will have a career after this. I'm going to be honest, he broke me. He broke me. He broke. And then I was like, no, this isn't right. It's just not right. And I apologized because that was the right thing to do and I meant it. And then I saw the tide turning and I saw what they were doing and I went, oh, okay, they're trying to spin this and they're making it about Barron, and obviously that was never my intent. I would never want to hurt anyone, much less a child, but I started to see what was really happening, and then it was a mob mentality pile-on, and so many people have expressed to me personally across the country at my shows, they're scared. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get arrested today. I don't know.
Don't ever believe these tears, these frauds. I think the reason I wanted to play that is that was Kathy Griffin. Earlier in that, she like apologizes to Trump, his family. She's like begs for an apology, please, please. Don't ever believe these people. They're pathological. You could argue that they're actually demonically possessed. I have a photo that proves it. Here you go. This is demon-possessed Kathy Griffin. This is what happened before and after Trump derangement syndrome, but really what it is a spiritual. You can see like the spiritual life being sucked from her body. You can see it. She looks like a corpse. She looks like the undead. She's not preparing for a movie role. She's not preparing for it, to be like the next creepy clown. This is actually just what Kathy Griffin looks like now. It's a wonderful Ronald Dahl quote that says, if you are ugly on the inside and twisted on the inside, you will become ugly and twisted on the outside. And we've seen that happen with so many celebrities that have exposed who they are. And once the makeup's off, the Hollywood lighting is gone, then you really are able to see like the wretched creature that exists. When the mask is off, oh, it's hideous. Don't ever let that happen to you. Have something that brings you purpose in life and that is disconnected from hatred. For me, it's like this business, this community we're building, my children, we do all this for our kids. We do all this to make sure that there's a country left for them. Those are my motivations. It's very uplifting. It's like, it's positive. It gives you joy. Keeps you young, Right, these people, they look hideous. Can you put that up one more time? Like, Donald Trump's older than all these people. Donald Trump's older, some of them by like a decade. He's older. Look at them versus Trump. Look at the difference between them versus Donald Trump. Oh, it's just terrible. Look at Trump. Look at him go. Slinging the nugs. Slinging hot nugs and salty fries. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. You can always see it. The Ronald Dahl quote says that no matter how will reflect quickly, right? Boy, you hit AOC. Have you seen AOC lately, man? Jeez, she is abuela maxing real hard. Anyway, the point is that like, don't be a liar. Don't be a fraud. Don't like Kathy Griffin. Like, she looks so hideous, but like what's really hideous is what's on the inside. She just lied. She just lied to herself. She lies to the entire country. She's not sorry at all. She's a goblin. Don't be a goblin, ladies and gentlemen. Or an abuela. All right. Too much fun on the program today, but the fun continues. We have a press conference. Caroline Leavitt at the White House in about an hour. We'll be live for that. There's a redirect set, so you can chill out here if you want. Ladies and gentlemen, we just thank you for making this show such a fun gathering point for our movement. That's what we intend it to be. Please consider following us on our RSS feed. Here it is available on BennyJohnson.com, but also here on the QR code. You can scan it and subscribe, and we'd really appreciate that. We're just trying to grow, trying to flex our muscles and grow and get this team, the Benny Brigade, big and powerful as possible, so we can keep on winning. How are we going to keep on winning? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to lock in and go to our God, go to the God, go to God. And that's how you actually win in life. You realize that these people, no matter who they are, they're not God. God is God. And don't put your faith in man. Man will let you down. Bad things can happen. Make sure that you lock in on the one immovable rock. That's why we have our verse of the day from Philippians 2:2. Make my the same love, being one spirit and of one mind. Does your joy feel complete today? Man, make sure that will do actually matter in life, and you'll be good, right? Yeah. Got a lot of family time this weekend. It was fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, we are marching with you on to victory. You know, in the end, we win. It's your boy Benny. See you in a little bit.
It was a radical idea. Wow! Imagine doubling the federal minimum wage. I can't do this! No way! Rich kids, they deserve to get a free education. That is what democracy is. Wait! Where the truth gon' be, faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade.
Stay tuned, there's more.
Cascade with the warrior's heart. This man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold.
So this Thursday, Trump's got a rally in Iowa?
It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light.
I know exactly where it's at.
Liberty to light. Bringing liberty.
They do on Thursdays. I would have to leave early. And the board's up.
Like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade with the warrior's heart. This man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold.
There's a lot of more good things there. I think you guys should watch his early stuff.
Freedom take hold. Salt in all the libs, soul never sold. It's the
Salt in the libs.
Where the truth
The
goes.
lifters.
Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.
250 years. I mean, if this one's really good too. I like this one.
Ranger knows the lineman in charge.
Yeah, if he's got that in Iowa. I mean, I don't know. I would like to go.
Power is always flowing, which is why you can.
Got to find where it's gonna be at. This is crazy.
Here in Denver, Colorado, it is a pride parade. That is so embarrassing. We have Kelly Rose over here. She's looking very tough. She climbed out on the stage.
Bunch of fucking lit stars walking around here.
So let's find out what people here are so proud of. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel.
And so your message is to bring people closer to Jesus.
That God is not done with them yet.
Furries are people who like animal characteristics.
Do you think
Wouldn't
I
you
can
say
go
that
there?
it's a little bit demeaning
I
to
like to
compare
go.
a person or make them more animalistic?
Not really, because you're not making a real person an animal or anything like that.
And so what do you think is the difference between animals and humans?
Animals are digitigrade, like bipedal. Humans are bipedal and singular.
You wouldn't follow a command like sit, roll over?
Oh, no. Yeah,
What?
I don't do that shit.
How obedient would you say your pup is?
Depends on the day.
Are you allowed to sleep in the bed? Do you sleep in a cage? Do you go to the bathroom outside?
Look at this.
No, it's not that bad, no.
Look at the lip turn.
We're pretty chill about it. Usually it's more like servicing him, like massaging him or giving him drinks, more butlery kind of thing, I guess, yeah.
Wow, sounds like you're living quite the life. What is the weirdest or strangest thing about being a furry?
I think the weirdest thing, it's actually kind of wholesome. Our community is really tight-knit. And if you meet someone else that's a furry, it's like this instant connection.
I think that the biggest difference is that humans are able to reason and logic, make questions, and for that reason we have a superior intelligence. And so
anybody can think what they want as long as it's not illegal or harmful. So like you are free to have your opinion of like what furries are.
Bestiality is illegal, right?
Yes, it is highly illegal, Mazda. Sorry, the whole bunch of birds.
Oh, look at she's hungry. She wants birdie.
No, it's.
While we're still here, he's giving people time to repent and turn away from the pervertedness of man. And I literally should have grown up a homosexual. And I'd be lying to you if I told you that I didn't have, these tendencies that would just come out of nowhere, that I knew something in me, because the Bible says that man and we all know right from wrong. So even though I came from a life full of prostitution, my mother was a prostitute.
I was just wondering if you ever feel like you have a deep void in your heart that you feel only God could fill.
Is this like God thing right now?
Oh, look at that.
Have a good day.
They hear God, they can't hear
Denver
them.
is a very liberal city. They are making a sanctuary city for trans and LGBTQ people. That's why so many of them are moving here.
Being around people who are actually pretty chill, same like-minded. I just moved from North Carolina, so like the South.
Oh, I see.
Way better.
Oh, okay. What does it mean to be you?
Well, I'm from the South, so I had to cover up everything of who I was.
And so what do you think are some of the difficulties that men have in trying to fit this ideal man?
Definitely the weight of society and the pressure of what they feel like needs to be done.
You little bitch, like you go out there from them.
What you do or how you think or how you act.
What expectations does society have of men that are...
Like, men aren't supposed to show emotion, they can't cry, they have to like support his family by himself, be like the tough man.
And it was because I had all of these lies. I mean, God delivered me from incest.
Y'all need
I had very perverted behaviors as a child that I did to another family member. You want to know the shame that comes of that? You want to know what type of behavior comes of that? This type of behavior.
Would you guys be open to sharing in my video what you guys are most proud
at that shit.
Of I guess in yourselves?
My little sister. Big sister.
Are you guys actually sisters? Like biologically?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I am absolutely shocked by the amount of men here who have boobs. Excuse me? Yeah, or like, what are you most proud of?
Thought I lived in a city where free expression isn't especially shut down.
What city are you originally from?
I'm from Melbourne, Florida. About as far right as I can get.
If you don't want to answer, that's totally fine. But I was just wondering, like, if you've had any experience like transitioning, or if you're doing that at all, or.
I am. I mean, it certainly is a lot.
What are the legalities of like wearing the beads? Oh, I don't. Or like the stickers?
Pasties?
Yeah.
As long as your nipples are covered.
Oh, I'm gonna
really? Yeah, I don't want a camera.
Hey, go cover your ass up.
Tens of thousands of people at this also online. That's the limit. Women could, I guess, get a ticket or get fined for showing their nipples? Get arrested. But if a man is identifying as a woman and he's showing his nipples, that's not indecency?
That's part of the problem. Coming over.
I was wondering because, like, some women have their nipples covered, and I guess that's like a public indecency if they don't cover their nipples.
Right?
How come like, guys are allowed to show their?
And then this guy, what do you think it is?
That's a really interesting question. We should pray on it.
And God delivered me from that. He removed the shame. I don't need my glasses to hide anymore.
And I guess what do you identify, or what's your sexuality?
I'm pansexual. My pronouns are faith femme.
Faith femme? That's for fairy? Faith femme?
Faith femme. Yeah, any faith creature. Technically, I identify as a chimera, which is an abundance of multiple creatures.
Why are you gay?
Am I gay?
Yeah.
No, I'm not gay.
Oh, you're
I'm
not
happy.
Oh, so you are gay?
Yeah.
Nice. I knew it. I could tell. Could you explain more what that means in practicality, what it looks like on a day-to-day basis?
Honestly, just escaping reality, not being, I guess, like everybody else and being you.
If I kept my mouth quiet, that would be hate. That I don't care about you.
I grew up to raise awareness for the genocide in Gaza.
And I guess a lot of people who are watching this video wonder what happens to gay or trans people in Palestine. Wouldn't they get 10 years of prison?
They currently, due to Israel's merciless and the same reality that every person in Gaza is facing, which is genocide.
Trans Jews belong here. Do you wish you were this queer?
That would be the most selfish thing. Oh, it happened to me, but it can't happen to you. No, it can happen for anybody who cries out.
Thank you to my Patreon members that make these videos possible. If you would like to join me every Friday for live Q&As and support the channel, check out my Patreon. The link is in the description. Now on with the video. Until what month is abortion legal in Colorado?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not going to engage. Thank
This
you.
thing is
It's the 9th
crazy,
month.
man, I tell you.
That's disgusting.
Unrighteousness, our ungodliness. So the more that we do things that are to our bodies, to our minds, we
fucking
very, perverted the thoughts and acts
the Bible.
The sexual acts. We just separate ourselves from one who created us, and He wants to call us into a relationship. And so I'm just out here today to let people know that it's not about a feeling. If it was about a feeling, my brother and sister, I'd be back at my house right now, like, hey, out there today. But
too much work. Yeah.
Too much, yeah. But it's action. Love causes you to act.
Yeah.
God, I don't know what. Just
and make sure we go over credit.
The word is brave today.
Very good. Make sure you're subscribed. See you next time. Bye.
Watch the look there, go bye. Next one.
If you're forgetting simple things and mixing up names, you need to know the elephant trick. It brought my memory back in 3.
This one here, guys. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention.
What happened to you, Marjorie Taylor Greene? I was reliably informed that you were a right-wing extremist, and now I'm hearing from Mark Levin and others that you're a liberal.
Yeah, I think that's what they're saying.
So you've gotten pretty liberal?
No.
No, you haven't.
No, not one bit.
But you are saying things that I've never heard you say before. Of course, we're in a different moment. We're in a moment where, a lot of things that I'll speak for myself that I had zero interest in ever talking about got kind of forced on us because of the wild, unbridled aggression of a few ideologues in Washington. Kind of like you just can't avoid the topic.
Right.
So you are a Republican serving in the House. Really the only issue that all Republicans in the House agree on is that Israel is a priority over the United States. They all agree.
Absolutely. They all agree on that.
But you're now saying that you don't think that's true.
No. As a matter of fact, I'm sticking to the campaign promises that I've made from the beginning.
Yes.
America first.
Yeah.
That's what I've said the entire time.
And you meant it, I guess.
I unapologetically mean it.
Yeah.
And apparently that's shocking. This is so interesting, Tucker. Since I've become a member of Congress since 2021, we have voted on 22 resolutions for Israel. 22 of them. all kinds of resolutions, you know, denouncing anti-Semitism. We never vote on resolutions proclaiming great things about America or defending certain Americans or defending Americans in general. But we have voted on 22 resolutions in the House defending Israel.
How many of you voted yes on?
I don't know my exact record. The last one I voted no on, and then the one before that I voted present because I just started getting sick of it.
Well, that's kind of it. I mean, I've always noticed this, certainly in the last, I don't know how many years it's been, a while, where Republicans in the Congress are, always talking about Israel. I'm not against Israel. I've always liked Israel, so I haven't really noticed it. Okay, fine, love Israel, love any, whatever. But it feels like something has changed. Like, why? And clearly it has for you. What is that thing?
Well, I think here's the situation. It's coming to a point where it's so obvious all the time in everyone's language, the social media posts they put out, the statements that they make. They have to proclaim Israel. They have to proclaim their faith and loyalty in Israel and how they, Israel is our greatest ally. And it's a statement that has to be made over and over and over again, to the point it's becoming like, wait a minute, what about our own country? What about our own people? And we have so many problems here in America, and we talk about this all the time. $37 trillion in debt. Just like you and I were speaking before, our kids' generations. My kids are 22, 25, and 27. And our children's generation, they can't afford rent. They can't afford to buy a house. They can't afford insurance. They can't buy a new car. They can't find a good paying job. They're living month to month, paycheck to paycheck, credit card bills stacked up. And they literally look to the future going, how am I ever going to realize the American dream? And it seems hopeless for them. But then in Congress, everyone is chasing and pursuing and proclaiming their loyalty to a foreign country. And my goodness, I have nothing against Israel. I wish them well. I wish the people of Israel well. I wish Jewish people well. But I also wish every country well. And I want good things for everyone.
So why do you hate Israel so much?
Right?
Yeah.
But, here's what it is. I compare it to, it's like white guilt. We've dealt with white guilt for so many years, and it's...
Has it worked? Has it improved anyone's life?
No. Yeah. No. And this is a similar thing, when in reality, everyone's lives are going to improve here in our country if we just focus on our own country. Yeah. And it's really simple.
One of my children just graduated college. I was talking to her this morning over coffee. She's got 13 friends she's moving to a major American city with, and I know them all. I know them. 3 have jobs.
3.
Yeah,
out of
3
13.
out of 13. And it's not. It's like a real college, for sure. 3 out of 13. And most of them are from, well-to-do family. They'll be fine. They're not going to starve to death or anything, but that's not good.
No, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We are literally failing our children.
Yeah.
And it's unacceptable. And it's opening the door for so many bad things in America. It's opening the door for Americans turning to voices and turning to leaders that they should never pay attention to.
Exactly.
And it disgusts me. Honestly, I turned a corner this past weekend where I'd had it. I have been in 4 years. My first 4 years was under the Biden administration. And so everything I blamed on Democrats.
Exactly.
And I was absolutely repulsed and disgusted to what happened to our country over 4 years. Just like everyone else. Shocked, angry, and disgusted.
Me too.
And obviously that's why we won in November. Yes. Oh my goodness, it was a miracle. I mean, people poured out from all walks of life, all backgrounds, and came out and voted for Trump, voted for Republicans in the House, Republicans in the Senate. So we've been in power for 6 months, and I was so excited in the beginning, thinking there's nothing we can't do. Literally nothing we can't do. But 6 months in, there's literally nothing that we can't. And that upset me so much. And I'm allowed to be upset about it. I can stand here and say...
You are allowed?
Well, no, I'm not sure. Not according to Mark Levin, and not according to many others, that prioritize another country over our country.
Yeah, it's interesting. You said a second ago that when people are really frustrated, when the system they live under fails them, they listen to voices that they shouldn't listen to or wouldn't listen to under any other circumstance. Like, how did Al Sharpton get to be the leader of Black America or whatever? I mean, it's like it's a thing. Desperate people tend to go to crappy leaders, I think. And I just can't get over what happened in our biggest city this week, the very same week that everybody in D.C. is focused thousands of miles away on the greatest threat we face, Iran's nuclear program. I want Iran to have the bomb. I'm not pro-Iran, obviously.
We're not pro-Iran.
Yeah.
Like, why do we have to say it?
No,
But
right.
we do.
It's
yeah,
dumb.
Here's the
But at
disclaimer.
the same time that everybody was looking to Iran, our largest city had a Democratic primary, effectively the mayor's race, and like 32-year-old socialist who wants government-run grocery stores gets elected. He's going to likely run our biggest city.
Yeah.
In the country.
Right. In New York.
And it's like, why did that happen? Is it because people are so like desperate for government-run grocery stores or love socialism in their cities? Probably not. That guy was the only person in the New York City mayor's debate to say he wanted to focus on New York City. All the candidates were asked, if you could visit a foreign country, what would it be? And they, of course, all had an answer. I think most said Israel. Great. And he said, I wouldn't go anywhere. I'd stay in New York. And like, if I want to meet Jewish constituents, I go to their synagogues, their homes, or whatever. But I'd be here in New York because that's what I'm doing. I'm running New York. That's my job.
Well, he gave the right answer.
He gave the right answer. He
Yeah.
gave the right answer, at least. And he's talking. I totally oppose his program. Just
Absolutely.
To be clear.
Yeah.
I don't think it works. But he's talking about economics.
Yep.
And everyone else is talking about foreign policy. Why is it hard to talk about economics, domestic economics?
I don't know. Apparently they don't know how to fix it. Well, look who he was running against. He's looking, I mean, the failed mayor, Andrew Cuomo, look at him. He was governor, yeah. Discussing sexual, all types of accusations.
Yeah.
So he was seen as the dirty establishment Democrat, right?
Machine politician.
Right, right. That really never solved anyone's problems. They already had him, and they still have the same problems.
Right.
They're still poor. They can't afford life. They can't afford to move up in the world.
Exactly.
And so they looked at Andrew Cuomo and was like, why am I going to vote for him? He's not going to make my life better.
No, it's
and so they look at this man who's been in our country for, what, 6 years?
Yeah.
6 years. So he's foreign born. He's a socialist, and he's promising to empty the prisons and do all kinds of crazy things. And he's talking to them on their level and talking about the problems they are facing, relating to them with the problems they're facing. So these young people have is a failure. It is literally a failure of the Republican Party. I think the Republican Party has completely failed, and it makes me so angry, Tucker. And I can't, I'm not supposed to speak out, right? I'm not supposed to have my own opinion. I'm supposed to just have blind allegiance to my party, and I'm supposed to cheerlead and rah, rah, rah. But that's not why I ran. That's not why I ran for Congress in the first place. I literally ran because I was mad at Republicans.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still mad at Republicans because it is affecting our children's lives and future. And it's our job to hold our elected leaders accountable. It's my job to hold my colleagues accountable. And if we don't fix these problems to the point where young people are turning to crazy socialists, it's going to get worse. It's literally going to get worse, and it'll be gone. I don't think we could ever get it back.
So you walk into my garage, my actual garage, one of the first things you see is a Liberty safe. We trust it. All my family's guns are in there, the guns I inherited, the guns I actually hunt with. I put the things I really care about in a Liberty safe. They've got a new pricing program on its Centurion line that makes it easier than ever to afford real protection, which is made in the United States. These safes are actually made here in Payson, Utah. Skilled American workers make them, and they are clearly a quality product. They're not that expensive. Prices start below $600. The Centurion line is the for protecting your firearms, important family documents, anything you want to keep safe. My guns are right there, right now. Every American deserves access to high-quality, secure storage without spending money overseas. That's why Liberty is the best. LibertySafe.com. The whole Centurion line is there. Keep your family protected. You'll be glad you did. We are. Well, it's just kind of weird because Fox News tells us that the real threats are abroad or they're Iranian sleeper cells in the United States. It seems to me the real threat to the United States is the collapse of its cities, of its population centers, where the most people live. I don't live in a city, don't want to live in a city because they suck.
Yeah.
But in a normal country, I would live in a city, and so would you.
Sure.
Of course. So I don't understand how we spent the last 25 years fighting all these wars, obsessively focused on our enemies abroad, jihadis, or whatever. They're telling us the threat is white supremacists under Biden. And the country has not gotten better.
No.
It's like maintaining the empire has destroyed the republic. It does feel that way.
Oh, 100%. But we have to look at what the struggle we're dealing with. So I think it's very interesting to look at the pattern in place. So 2016, America rose up, and I was one of those little people. And we rose up and turned to one man. 100% different than the other 16. And he spoke our language and cared about issues. We were like, oh my gosh, we've never heard a politician say this before. So we elected Trump. And then President Trump went into his first administration totally unaware of what he was getting into. I mean, who could know? If you're coming from the outside, how could you know how that system works? You can't. I didn't know. And so then President Trump thought, hey, everyone's supporting me now. I won the election. All Republicans should get behind me. We're all going for the same thing. But no, they stabbed him in his back. People in his administration were horrible. They threw him under the bus, allowed him to be investigated and accused of horrible things. The people stood with him, but we watched the establishment try to beat him back. Then the election was stolen in 2020. Then January 6th happened. The establishment roared back again and tried to take back the Republican Party, take it back and take control. The people didn't let it happen, though. The people were like, no, we do not want to go back to the neocon ways. We don't want to go back to the failures of the leadership of the Republican Party. So then we saw what happened. He got more powerful. They were prosecuting him. I mean, 34 indictments. They found him guilty. They tried to kill him twice. They put him in jail, giving him that iconic photo. And then we elected him again, but it's the same thing. You know what's happened? The establishment and the neocons, the ones that tell us that they're America first. Oh, we're not. We're fake MAGA. Fake MAGA. They're the ones that have figured out how to dress up in an America first costume and put on a MAGA hat. And now they speak our language perfectly. They have the dialect. But they're not us at all. And I think that's what we saw happen over the past week when establishment rear its ugly head, and it's bigger than we could have imagined. And I think it was fully exposed. And to me, I looked at that and I went, wow, it's worse than I thought.
Me too.
Because you want to know something, Tucker? We only have President Trump for a few more years. And in just a few more years, we're going to have to elect another president. And we're going to all have to turn and find a new leader that will share our values and fight for them. That's going to be very hard, because we're going to have to fill shoes that are very big, very difficult to fill. And we've had President Trump now for all these years, and so many people are going to be disappointed because you're not going to have another Trump. There's not going to be one. And I think it's the most dangerous time for people like us that truly care about our country, love our children, and want to fix the problems so that their lives can be better. And I think we're going to face a real fight within our party to make sure that that we are pushing the focus to focus on America, focus on our problems, and just let the world do its thing. We can have great trade deals. We can do all these things, but it's going to be very hard to push that system in place, because I really think in the past week I realized that that's not who they are. They said it on the campaign trail. They promised it when they got elected, and a whole bunch of others, the talking heads on TV, they all pretended. It's not real.
Yeah, so the question is, do the people who really do care about the United States give up and leave, you know, the party, the movement, or not? I mean, New York City was built by, you know, hardworking, sober, Christian people, and they built this amazing city, and then of course they all left because it became chaotic starting in the 60s, and they're all gone. And that's why you get the election results you do. They just ran away, and they moved to the suburbs or Montana or wherever. They have a tendency, productive people have a tendency to do that. They don't stay and fight. They do like, I don't want to deal with this, I'm out.
Yeah, they don't have to stay in the fight.
Well, that's true. But do you see that happen with America First? Do you, like, in 5 years, are people going to be like, you know, when Mark Levin and Laura Loomer built America First with Tom Cotton and Lindsey Graham,
right?
Like, you know, the heroes of the movement,
right?
Like the Soviets redefined the Bolshevik Revolution to make, you know, Stalin the head of it.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean?
I mean, Laura Loomer is America First.
Right. I mean,
except Israel first.
But is that going to happen? Do you think that people who really think that we need a government that focuses on the country it represents? I can see through your skin suit. I know who you are. This is all fake. You can't use my government, my military to prosecute these silly sectarian wars anymore.
Right. I don't know. I'm going to be really honest. I don't know. I think it goes one of two ways.
If they can kick you out, then I think we'll know the answer.
I had 3 reporters, literally. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. 3 reporters, one from Punchbowl, one from Axios, and one from the Wall Street Journal. And I know who they're connected to people. And they came and they were asking me the same stupid questions, trying to make this like she's betrayed Trump. She's broken up with Trump. She's turned her back on him, which couldn't be further from the truth. But they're setting the stage because they want these headlines, right?
So the Wall Street Journal is now kind of looking out for Trump.
Oh, totally. Yeah, the Wall Street.
Enforcing loyalty in the Trump ranks.
Yes. Yeah. And Punchbowl, obviously. And
they're very concerned.
Yeah. And
they don't want to see any leaking or disloyalty against Donald Trump.
Those are MAGA publications, let me tell you.
This is too funny. It's too unbelievable.
But it's so predictable.
I know. But I do think and one of the reasons I'm so grateful that you flew all the way from your real job to come see us is that I think it's important to know whether you're going to fight for the movement that you've been in since 2016 and are really identified with. I mean, when you got to Congress, you were so for Trump and his ideas that your own party tried to expel you from the Congress.
Exactly. Literally.
They hated Trump.
Oh, they still hate him. I serve with so many people that hate.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I have argued with them so many times. I'm like, I love him. I love the man. I don't care about his flaws, whatever. I love him. Yeah. I love his fight. Yes. I love his passion. I love the fact that you cannot beat him. He will beat anybody and he will not give up. And that's what I love about President Trump.
Yeah.
But I serve with people that hate him. And right now they're having to do the dance. They have to play the game. They have to say the words. And they're all pretending. They're literally pretending. And they can't wait. To them right now, President Trump is a speed bump. They just have to get past that speed bump. And then they will. It's only a few years away. They just have to play the game long enough and do the deed and not get a Truth Social put out on them.
Right.
Or have him, primary them or endorse an opponent against them. They have to do that. And then after that, it's going to be back to business as usual. Because you wouldn't believe it. Like the bills that we're putting together, the lobbyists that are coming in, tucking in what they want, big donors. Oh my goodness. The donors that came on board in this last election, new donors, totally different donors than we've ever had before. These big, like the AI tech bros, cryptos come around. There's a whole circle of donors. And then you always have the military industrial complex.
Yeah.
All of them have come around and they're demanding their little things. And that's what they have all tried to tuck into the one big beautiful bill. So it's business as usual in Washington.
It's always been that way to some extent, of course, always. What I find different from what I thought it was anyway is this obsessive love of violence. that, like Tom Cotton, you know, you could have dinner with him and disagree on anything. But if you raise a voice against bombing people, like Tom Cotton is upset. Like he wants to be able to kill people, period.
Yeah, I know a lot of my colleagues want to kill people.
What is that?
I think it's a darkness. We're a country. Think about our culture. Ever since I was a little kid, we had movies that we saw movies where Russia's the bad guy and the hero in the story defeats the bad Russian, or there's a war movie where we defeat Russia or China, or it's whoever the bad guy is.
Yes.
And then the movies where we had war movies of defeating Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, all these movies. And we've grown up with Hollywood telling us who the foreign bad guys are.
Yes.
And making these people our complete enemies and never humanizing them. And so, yes, and there's this obsession with war and killing and murder.
Yes.
And that is sick. It's sick that America is cheering that we bombed another country. Now, okay. Sponsor terrorism. They have killed our military, but our military never belonged over in the Middle East in the first place.
Of course.
I'll argue that all day long. But however, when people that hold power in Washington, D.C., like I do, but everyone I work with is just over the top excited that we may be going to war to kill people, they never think about the innocent people, or they don't care about the innocent people.
It makes them feel powerful. What do you think of when you think of June? Pride Month, of course. Just kidding. Pride is a sin, actually. Getting rid of pride is the goal. In fact, June is the month of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And our friends at the Hallow app are celebrating accordingly. They're dedicating the entire month to praising the Son of God, and you're invited to join them. Enjoy a deep dive into God's love with daily prayer experiences, including the great Jonathan Rumi, who plays Jesus himself on The Chosen and recently joined the show. Had a wonderful dinner with him, which we're still talking about in my house. During these meditations, you reflect on the faith's most transformative stories and get to the point, which is to build your relationship with God. It's hard to imagine a better way to spend your time. Again, we love it in our house. It is a never-ending topic of conversation. So join us and millions of others experiencing the love, grace, and mercy and peace that only Jesus can bring you. If you don't believe it, try it. Get 3 months free right now at hallow.com/Tucker. I have noticed there's a connection between the internal weakness in a person and enthusiasm for killing. So I've always wondered, like, why is it the people with the weirdest, most unhappy personal lives? And I'm really trying not to be mean, so I'm going to, like, not use names, but boy, I know a lot of them just living there my whole life. They're the most enthusiastic about exerting force on other people, including like children and villagers and stuff. It's like really dark, but it makes them feel powerful. Like you almost never see a strong man get excited about killing.
No.
You see strong men who kill, but they always have mixed feelings about it. I had to do it, but.
Yeah, or we're ordered to do it. I met just this morning with one of my counties. They came up to visit me, and so we had this great breakfast and met with everybody there. And two different groups that were in the big group were veterans groups. And they were literally telling me this morning about how many veterans they are working with that live with the horrors in their mind of what they did, kicking in doors, going into some family's home, searching for enemies and terrorists. And, some of them killed the father of the family in front of their children. These are the horrors that our brothers, cousins, uncles, fathers, friends, and they cannot have a normal life. Their marriages fall apart. They turn to drugs and alcoholism. They can't keep a job. And this is what it has done to them. So, Tucker, I totally agree with you. I don't know what is wrong with America that anybody cheers that on.
The two issues that people are completely unreasonable about, literally unreasonable, reason doesn't enter into it. It's just such strong emotion that it'll end friendships or start friendships. All of a sudden, you have Bill Kristol praising the Trump administration, are war and abortion.
Yeah.
And it's the power that people feel when they kill is I think it's the most alluring power there is. More powerful than sex, more powerful than money. Being able to take a life makes you feel like God. And for a lot of people, like Lindsey Graham, it compensates for a hollowness inside, a lack of a successful life, no family, etc. Whatever. I don't want to be Freud here, but it's the weakest people who are the most excited to take a life. Have you? I just can't.
I think that's accurate. Yes, I would say that's accurate. I would just also say, what is wrong with our culture? How did we get to this place? Because honestly, okay, it doesn't matter what country it is in the world. Those people are responsible for their government. If they want to tear it down, they will tear it down. I mean, that's a historical fact. Any group of people, if they hate their government enough, they will tear it down. So if those people want to tear down their government, God bless them, let them do it. But it's not our job to do it. Now, Israel wants it to be our job.
Of course.
They want regime change. Yep. And that is their goal. And that's why we're seeing propaganda back on the news that now Iran is months away from having a nuclear weapon, rebuilding their program and having a nuclear weapon, because we have to go right back to it. They've been saying that since the 1990s. So they have to say it again over and over and over again. But that's what they want. And they want America to be drug into it. I got to tell you, it was the coolest thing this past week when I took a really hard stance and I said, I'm totally against this. This is literally what we campaigned on not doing. And here we're doing the thing we said we wouldn't do. Like, why are we doing the thing we said we wouldn't do?
Oh, shut up, Marjorie. Just go along with it.
That's what I was told.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet you were.
Literally, shut up, Marjorie. I get that a lot. But no, this was so crazy to me. We're doing the thing that we said we wouldn't do. And when I spoke out against it, it was like just what you described. Two sides raging on the issue. Yes. The one side that was like, yes, we will defend Israel. We will defend them no matter what, against anyone. We'll send our children to die for them. We'll take all the nuclear bombs upon ourselves before we let anything happen to Israel. So we have that whole side. And war.
What is that?
I don't know. Which was all these people that came out of the woodwork from all over the place. Democrats, liberals, progressives, Republicans, MAGA, America First, flooding in. And it was an all range of things. As you know, the MAGA and America First people was like, I agree with MTG. She's right. And then you've got the people on the left are going, oh my God, what is happening to me? This is the end of the world. I'm agreeing with MTG. Like they're doing mental gymnastics because they're agreeing with me. And it was hilarious. But they're flooding my office with phone calls agreeing with me. And I'm sitting here going, hey, Republicans, remember we said we weren't going to do this? Imagine how much support we could have if we stuck with it. Yep. Like if we actually stuck with what we said and actually meant it, because now there's a lot of people that feel betrayed that we didn't stick with that.
I know.
And that's not what President Trump wants. Absolutely, that's not what he wants. You know, and I have to give him all the praise and credit. He bombed them and then he pulled out. Mm-hmm. Thank God. And I loved it when he dropped the F-bomb talking to the press and he was like, both of them have gone crazy. I was like, inject this in my veins right now. This is exactly what I want to hear. But it was the two major reactions that blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind.
I'm not entirely surprised. I've seen that. It is a kind of weird feeling to be praised by people you disagree with on everything or think you disagree with them. Like, who knows? I don't know. Everything is kind of up for grabs. I'm against killing people.
Yeah.
Innocence. I'm just opposed. I'm totally opposed to abortion. I think euthanasia is one of the most evil things I can think of.
Me too. I agree.
And I think wars of choice are really evil. That's my view.
Yep.
But what's interesting, and I feel that instinctively, but I also feel like theologically that's correct. I guess, like, what do I know? But I feel it. But you represent a district in Georgia that's very heavily Protestant Christian. Mm-hmm. I'm Protestant Christian. Mm-hmm. Like you are too.
Yep.
And there is a feeling among a lot of Protestant Christians, non-mainline, what we call evangelicals, I guess is the term they use, that we have a moral obligation to support the secular government of Israel. That God tells us that we have to fight these wars for the secular government of Israel, not for the ancient nation of Israel or the Jewish people, but for the secular government.
That supports abortion and supports LGBTQ and trans and...
So, two questions. One, what kind of reaction have you gotten from those voters, many of whom are like some of the best people I know? I just want to say that.
They're great.
They're great, and they're all your fans. Where does that come from, that belief?
I'm sure some of them are mad at me right now. I can totally expect that and understand it. And I'm sure we'll work it out. That's something I do know. I don't know where it comes from. I think, to me, what I've witnessed, just, from my opinion, it is embedded in our education system. We're taught all these things. We're, of course, taught about the Holocaust, taught about the nation of Israel. It's embedded in our education, but it's also embedded in church. It's embedded in church, and they take that verse back in, I guess it's Genesis
12.
Genesis 12, bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you.
Yeah, I checked the other day because I had this interesting conversation with Ted Cruz, who said his theology was based on that verse. He had no idea where in the Bible it was and couldn't describe what it meant. But that's his theology. Try not to be disrespectful, though I have no respect for it, I just want to say. But anyway, I looked at in my Bible, I checked 2 different translations. There's no word Israel in there. I don't know enough to know what he's really talking about, but that's very common for kids in Sunday school to be taught.
It's used in Sunday school, and it's used in Bible studies, and it's related to the end times. I've done those Bible study groups. It is very much tied into Revelations, and they walk all the way through. They tie it in with the covenant. They tie it in all the way. And look, I'm not going to pretend I'm a Bible scholar. I'm not going to pretend that I know everything. As a matter of fact, I'll sit way back in the back. I know who I am. I know I'm a sinner, and I'm not going to try to tell anybody what they should believe. But I've read my Bible. I grew up Catholic, and then I didn't like the pedophile priest issue. Didn't want to raise my children in that. So I left the church, and I'm just a Christian, just a simple Christian. And I've read my Bible. And the one thing I know is it says a lot of other things in there. It says, do not murder. That's pretty important.
Sure does.
Yeah.
If someone hits you in the face, turn the other cheek. If someone takes your cloak, give them the rest of your clothes. I mean, It's like, look, that's from Jesus. So Christians care above all what Jesus says, I think.
I do.
If you're a young person working for a big company, on some level you're working for the man. You're working for a system that doesn't like you and doesn't help you at all, but you got to do it. But there is a way to subtly stage a minor revolution in your mouth. And that's by using this product. It's not owned by some horrible company that hates you and is trying to wreck your life. It's owned by us. And we made this out because it's the single best nicotine pouch in the world. So we have something that you might be interested in, you can get involved in. It's the ALP affiliate program. You share ALP, you get paid. It's that simple. When you sign up, you get a 10% off discount code you can give your friends. They save, you earn, everyone wins, and in the end, everyone gets ALP. So fight back in a subtle way that your bosses may not even notice. ALP. Get paid to tell the truth about the best nicotine pouch out there.
How have we gotten to the point where you have sincere Christians who I think I probably agree with on everything, on certainly most things, who people I love would be delighted to have dinner with? I mean, no disrespect at all to them. But how do we get to a point where good people like that are making the case that Jesus wants more bombing? What is that?
Well, also look at Jesus himself, he was persecuted in his lifetime by the leaders of Israel, the leaders at the temple. He was persecuted by his own people's leaders. And that's something to recognize. And all of the prophets throughout the Old Testament, who were they persecuted and killed by? The leaders of their day. It's throughout the entire Bible. So it's not uncommon that this would be happening. And here's what I find interesting. I don't think, America, if you've read Revelations, is not in Revelations.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to talk about that. And we need to say, why is America not in Revelations? And I think we could come up with all kinds of theories, but I know for a fact it's not in there because I've read that part too.
Yeah, I don't think John was aware in his cave on Patmos of the United States of America.
Well, and when he was given that entire vision and shown all of that, he wasn't shown America. So there's a clear reason, and we don't know why. But I think back to this story, as Americans have been taught that they have to do whatever. The secular government should not be telling Christians in America what they should and shouldn't do with their tax dollars, with their military, and with who their allegiance should go to.
Boy, I got a lecture on Christian theology the other day from David Friedman, the former Trump ambassador to Israel, and I was like, not against David Friedman, seems smart, but like seemed a little much to be giving me a lecture about Christian theology.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also here's something else we have to recognize with people that are like mad at me or mad at you about saying these things. We need to they need to think about this too. Is like, hey, we all live in this house. It's called the United States of America. This is our house. And if we are giving our full allegiance to another foreign country who doesn't pay our taxes, will not pay off our debt, did not come and defend our southern border when it was invaded for 4 years straight, when its prime minister, Netanyahu, was the first to congratulate Joe Biden being president of the United States. He was the first foreign leader. I don't understand.
A country that has longstanding military ties to China.
Yeah, there's that.
Which runs the port of Haifa. I mean, I'm not attacking. Look, Israel's doing what it thinks it needs to do. I just want to say for the 50th time, I'm not especially mad at Israel.
Not mad at Israel.
Mad at our leaders who don't seem to care about the United States. That's it.
And that's the problem. And that's where we are. We have this house. It's our house, the United States of America. And our elected leaders are not fully focused on our house and our problem with our children and their future. And that's why we are opening the door wide open to foreigners that have moved to the United States of America and profess insane socialist and communist views, and they are going to get elected. There's another one running against Nancy Pelosi, manager and chief of staff. And he sounds just like that mayor in New York. And he is a Democrat primarying Nancy Pelosi. So this whole thing is the left is going to go in a whole nother direction because Republicans who professed America first are not solving the problems for our house.
Right. And Republicans refuse to talk about economics, like actual economics, not bullshit economics, GDP and tax cuts, but actually like, it's too expensive for my kids to buy a house. What are you doing about that?
Right.
And the answer is absolutely nothing. Other than yelling, you're a socialist. I'm not insecure about being a socialist. I don't really care what people call me. But that is a much bigger problem than anything Iran is cooking up in its centrifuges, as far as I'm concerned. Certainly a bigger problem for everyone I know. My kids can't buy a house. Therefore, they can't get married and have kids.
Right. So think about this. Last week, our kids were just thinking about, I can't afford to buy a house. Where am I going to get a good job? All my friends can't find a good job. A lot of young women that are conservative are like, where am I going to find a good man? A lot of conservative young men are like, where can I find a decent young woman to marry? Because many of them are insane, have turned leftward, so far left.
Yeah.
So last week,
37 sexual partners, which, sorry, people are starting into it. You know, who's into that? It's
not I. So there's all the, but think about it. Last week, they were thinking about all their other problems that they already have, but they weren't thinking about, do I have to worry about a terrorist attack happening here in the United States? Yeah. Fast forward to this week, now it's like, oh my gosh, not only is life unaffordable and all these unknowns and all these problems I have and my credit card debt is, my credit cards are maxed out and I can't go on vacation and I want to go with my friends and I want to go to this concert, but I can't afford it. But now they have to think about, oh, if I do go to that concert, there could be a terrorist attack because we bombed Iran. It's like a whole nother set of problems.
Yeah.
And so, of course, when this guy that's running for mayor of New York City, iconic New York City, is talking to New Yorkers, and he says on the debate stage, when he's asked, what foreign country do you want to go visit? And the rest of them are saying Israel. And he says, I don't want to go. I just want to stay here in New York. Of course, they're going to listen to him.
Yeah, I listen to him, and I don't want to be mayor of New York at all. I think it's so important that someone responsible and reasonable and American runs New York. But I guess in general, I resent importing foreign conflicts into our country, ancient race hatreds, religious, ethnic hatreds. What does that have to do with us? And I feel like we've definitely wholesale imported that. I get texts all the time from, some people I like, but, Pakistani, Indian, Bangladeshi telling me about some fight in U.S. or Canada between different Muslim or Hindu groups. And I'm not against any of them. I like them all. I'm not.
Sure.
But what does that have to do with North America?
Nothing.
So why did other countries don't put up with that? You try that in the UAE.
Yeah.
This happened. You're some Pakistani worker building office buildings in the Gulf, and you have a march through downtown Abu Dhabi saying, I'm mad at India. They're like, you're out on the first flight.
Right.
Back to Lahore.
Burning their flag.
Yeah, nothing personal.
Yeah. If you're out there burning their Indian flag, I'd love to see what happens to you. Yeah.
Well, the attitude of the Emirati government is that has nothing to do. Don't bring that shit here.
Right.
Even if we're on your side. I mean, you know what I mean?
Right. Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
But okay, so in Congress we have, I think it's 32 members of Congress are foreign born, not born in the United States.
Really?
32. I serve with them. 32.
Well, I was surprised to learn that Ted Cruz is not American. He's like a secret Canadian.
He's from Canada, not Texas.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Canada, does it border Texas?
I don't think so. Not on the map I saw.
Okay. So what is it? It feels weird even to ask you because I've spent so many decades studiously ignoring this issue. I don't want to engage. I think it's weird. It's always bothered me, but it's been pushed. You can't ignore it. And you brought it up. Why are almost every single Republican in this weird kind of Israel worship mode all the time? And many Democrats, by the way, Pelosi, chief among them. When a candidate steps forward and they're running for Congress, they get approached by all kinds of groups, all the special issue groups, everything from pro-life groups to pro-gun groups to Christian groups, and there's a group called AIPAC, and they come too. And so they'll have a survey form for you to fill out. Each group has a survey form because they want to know where you are on the issues, which I think is a good thing. I think Second Amendment groups need to know, hey, are you going to take away my gun rights? I think that's the right thing to be asking candidates. Pro-life groups, are you going to go to Washington and vote to kill babies? Like, we want to know who you are. I think that's great. Well, there's a group called AIPAC, and they come and they want to know what's your position on Israel, and they want you to write a paper, and they want to fill you out on your position on Israel. And then if you get elected to Congress, if you win your race, everyone's freshman year, AIPAC will take Republicans and Democrats, new members, on a special trip to Israel. Do they pay for it?
I don't know. I don't know because they didn't take me. They didn't take me.
Were you the only one in your class who didn't go?
I think I'm the only one in my class that did not get invited. I didn't even get invited. It wasn't that I turned it down. I didn't even get invited. And I'm not anti-Semitic. I wish Israel the best. I wish them all the best. I wish everybody the best. But they didn't take me on the trip.
I do too.
Yeah. But they didn't take me on the trip, so I don't know if they pay for it, but I should find that out because I think that's important. But here's the situation, and it can't be ignored, and I have no problem talking about it. I think any special interest group, if they are representing another country, a foreign country, they have to register that way.
Under the Foreign Agent Registration Act, FARA.
We have a law. Yes, they should register under that law. And I think, and their Americans are members of AIPAC. They're members. They donate to it.
Sure.
But if you're still an American and you were representing the interest of any foreign country, you still have to register.
Paul Manafort's an American. He's from Connecticut. He's from like Meriden, Connecticut or something. Wethersfield, Connecticut. He's from Connecticut. And he was convicted as an American for not registering as a foreign agent, as a foreign lobbyist. So, I mean, the argument that it's Americans doing the lobbying, that's the point. Americans who are lobbying on behalf of a foreign country have to register. Doesn't mean they can't lobby. It's just it's fair to have them register.
Yes.
So why isn't AIPAC why aren't they registered under FARA? I don't understand that.
I think everybody's too afraid to push that issue.
Why?
Tucker. Strong group that will come against you. They will come against you. They will fund a primary against you. I'll probably get a primary funded against me for even saying this on this show. But you know what? I don't care.
I think you were getting one anyway.
Oh, sure. I'm probably getting one. And that's fine. And my district can vote for whoever they want to represent them. They can.
It's just funny. It's like you and Massey are the only member, and the whole class, Republicans, the majority of the House of Representatives.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of 435.
Yeah, both sides.
Well, 535 with the Senate. And I still think you and Massey are the only ones who've ever said anything like this.
I'm sure. I'm sure we're the only ones. We're not the only ones that think it, but we're the only ones that say it.
So that's my next question.
But it's not anti-Semitic to say it.
Well, obviously. That's
because I had a group coming to me and saying, we really want to make sure that you're voting to fund $3.3 billion, every single year to Switzerland. Exactly. That would be the same thing.
I love Switzerland. I have ancestors who came from Switzerland. And I go a lot. It's just an amazing country. I couldn't support it more. I wish Switzerland well, as I wish Israel well. But if there were, maybe there is, a Swiss lobby.
There's every kind of lobby.
Right. Not they don't need the help, I guess. But neither is Israel, really. But I would expect them to register under the law.
Of course. And
I wouldn't be an anti-Swiss bigot.
No.
For saying otherwise. So I guess I don't really want to play along, but I'm wondering, this is all so very obvious and so rational and so relevant right now.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody ever mention this in the Congress? I mean, you've been there for a while.
No, they have their blind faith and loyalty. Blind faith and loyalty. And they're scared to say it.
What about the guy who showed up in a foreign military uniform?
Zelensky.
Well, there's that. Well, yeah, they worship. But anyway, I just want to be clear. It's not just Israel. They also worship Zelensky.
Oh, they worship him. Oh, my goodness, they worship him.
Well, that's a clear.
But you should see the propaganda. I could go for days on that one. I went hard against that war. That war started, and it wasn't a month after that war started, and we had Ukrainian soldiers in their uniforms, injured Ukrainian soldiers on crutches.
Tight-fitting uniforms, because a lot of this is...
Limping through the halls of Congress, going and visiting our offices, begging for help. We need help. Hitler is going to come and take our country and steamroll across Europe. Vladimir Putin. But that was the thing.
Yeah.
But so we get... the propaganda that comes through the halls of Congress is incredible. It's incredible.
But do you ever sit in the House and ever have someone say, we're voting on our 22nd Israel resolution? This is a lot, actually.
I did, finally.
But does anybody ever say, again?
No.
We have a country, too. 350 million people live here.
No.
No one ever says that.
No.
So Nancy Mace is she's just excited to vote for another...
Yes.
So it's not just, everyone talks about AIPAC. I've already said I think they should register under FARA. It's a foreign lobby.
It's common sense.
Not attacking him.
It's not even saying anything bad about them. They just should be registered.
It's insulting. Of course,
they can continue.
That everyone's afraid to say that. You shouldn't be afraid.
No.
But it's not just, there's something, what is this? This, I think, is the weirdest thing. Brian Mast shows up in an IDF uniform in the Congress. I don't know Brian Mast. I'm sure he's a delightful person, but are you allowed to show up in a foreign military uniform in the Congress?
I don't think it's, it's like waving a foreign flag on the floor.
But they're all over the place.
But he served over there in the IDF. Yeah.
How can an American serve in a foreign military and keep his citizenship?
I have no idea. It's the same thing as how can foreign born people serve and be members of Congress? I don't understand how
but
that
serving in a foreign military, that's pretty serious.
Yes. You swear an oath and you swear your allegiance to fight and die for that country. You're saying, I'm willing to die for this country, but then you can serve in our country's Congress.
But how can you remain a citizen? If I go and serve in the Russian army, I assume.
Yeah.
I have no plans to. I'm not Russian.
No.
I don't want to. How can you be an American? Don't you forfeit your citizenship by doing that?
People would say, yeah, they definitely would come.
Well, of course, I'd go to jail for it.
Yeah.
But,
the New York Post mocked me and called me Moscow Marjorie and put it on their front page because I didn't want to vote to fund Ukraine. So clearly.
Moscow Marjorie.
Yeah, Moscow Marjorie. Yeah.
Funny, the New York, any Murdoch publication is just agnostic on most things, but really pro-war.
Oh, they love war.
Yeah.
Well, they love it. It helps their ratings. It keeps all the baby boomers glued to the television.
Yeah.
24 hours a day because they're terrified that bombs are going to fall on America. Yeah. Something terrible is going to happen. You have to keep up with it. Funniest thing to me, Tucker, was how come, okay, look, our country funded that war in Ukraine, funded it. And our military leaders ran that war. They have been all about that war. We fund their government. We fund their retirement. We have funded their small businesses. The American people tragically have kept Ukraine afloat. But how come we couldn't watch that war on television? And I say that sarcastically because I think it's ridiculous. We could watch the Israel and Iran launching bombs at each other and exploding in their cities and people's reactions and the nonstop commentary and counting missiles and how many missiles they shot down. But we never saw that with Ukraine and Russia. And I want to know why. Why didn't we see that?
Well, now we don't see it. I asked a bunch of members of Congress, including the Speaker of the House, disgraceful person, in my opinion, Mike Johnson, but so you funded this war with billions of our dollars. We're bankrupt, but you're paying for this war because you love the Ukrainians so much. How many Ukrainians have died? No clue. Not interested. They're not interested. Really. You're funding the war because you love the Ukrainians, but you're not even keeping track of how many of its young men have died, or now middle-aged men have died.
How many fathers, how many brothers?
Yeah, how many people with Down syndrome? How many Ukrainians with Down syndrome were pulled off the street and sent to go die in a war that you were paying for? They don't care.
No.
That's when I thought, I'm kind of out.
Oh, totally out on that. But it's an interesting comparison. Why can you watch one on TV and you can't watch the other one on TV? And I don't know the answer to that.
You should be able to watch whatever you want on TV, right?
Supposedly.
Pull up pornography on your iPhone. You probably should be able to watch a war that you're paying for.
Right. But isn't that just like, why is that? Why do Americans have to be shown that Israel is about to be annihilated? And what are the consequences of that to America if Israel is annihilated? No, wait, let's say it like this. Nuclear armed Israel. Why do we have to be shown on TV 24 hours a day, nuclear armed Israel being bombed and attacked? And why do we have to be fed that when we're not fed that about any other war anywhere else?
We're being manipulated. That's why.
Yes.
Why all the flags, the foreign flags in the Congress? I was just up there last week and every member has a foreign flag. Not every member, but a lot of them, the Republicans all have Israeli flags, which I personally think is a beautiful flag. I'm not opposed to the flag.
No.
But when I was a kid, I went to Congress when I was a kid. There are no foreign flags. It's the United States Capitol. It's the capital of our country.
It's the capital of the United States of America.
What, do you have one? A foreign flag?
My job title is representative.
Right.
I don't wear foreign flags. I wear the American flag.
So, but you're one of the only ones who doesn't wear a foreign flag.
Not many don't wear foreign flags. Yes, that's correct. Or no, they'll wear a pin that will have the American flag and the Israel flag together. And there's also pins that have the American flag and the Ukraine flag together. And then,
are they the same country?
No.
Okay.
Contrary to what some people may believe.
Yeah. Okay. So does anyone ever talk about this?
No. It is widely accepted. It's an And then Democrats will wear many foreign flags. I mean, they've gone through Gaza. They've gone through Mexico. They've got Iran. Yeah.
Mexico?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Boy. I grew up next to Mexico. They don't like, I like a lot of Mexicans personally.
I got to tell you, I was in Mexico last weekend and it was great.
Oh, no. Well, Mexicans are great people.
Mexicans are great people.
I could not agree more.
right.
I could not agree more.
And the area I was in was gorgeous.
No, I'm saying the Mexican government.
Oh, the Mexican government. Yeah, enough of that.
Yeah.
But no, the people there, oh my goodness, wonderful people.
Great.
They're bilingual. Their English is perfect. And it's not because they were in the United States. It's because they learn English and Spanish in their schools as they're growing up.
Sure.
The customer service was the best customer service I have had in decades. And customer service is one of the things I'm really picky about because I grew up in a construction company and my dad's #1 rule was customer is king. And so you treat the customer as they are the king. And that is how we will survive. That's how we will make money is we treat our customers better than anybody. And so it's a little thing I pay attention to.
It's a big thing.
I was blown away. I was like, everybody's saying hello to me every single day. They're asking me if I need anything. I mean, like everybody I walk by and I'm going, wait, this isn't what I was told about Mexico.
No, I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of Americans living in Mexico.
Oh, yeah, they love it.
No, of course they
but
can. They can't afford to live in the United States.
But we don't have that kind of customer service in the United States.
No, we definitely don't.
And we don't. Our government.
No, I know.
So we have, everyone I work with is going from dinner to some special interest group. They're invited to speak, so they feel honored to speak at these groups. And it's every single night or a lunch or a breakfast in Washington, D.C., and they're going and doing all these things, and then they're wearing their lapel pins or their little pocket handkerchiefs or whatever it may be, representing foreign countries or tying them to the United States as if you could tie a foreign government to our government. That's ridiculous. And it's widely accepted and it's common practice and no one ever questions it.
So now you are questioning it, without hate, I think.
Oh.
And, you said like 5 times, you're not mad at Israel. You're mad at American leaders who refuse to put their own country first, which I think is fair.
Right.
But, I mean, you're going to get crushed for saying this.
Probably.
What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I don't know, but I'm sure they're going to try to find a primary against me.
Yeah.
That won't say the things that I say.
Yes.
And they're going to try to say that I'm betraying Trump when I'm not at all. I have spent millions of my own dollars campaigning for that man all over the country, like freely, just going.
Weren't you just with him the other day?
Yes.
I saw you with him somewhere.
At the White House.
Yeah.
Like you cannot make me not love. I love him. I think he's great and I support him. That our military was so well trained, the strikes that they made, and then President Trump said enough, and he backed out of it. No other president would have done that. And the Congress is upset that he backed out. And Mark Levin's head is going to explode
well, actually,
on his
I have
show.
The quote, and I hate to beat up on Mark Levin. He's got enough problems, obviously. But so the moment the ceasefire happened, he said this, I hate this word ceasefire. I really do. So how could, I mean, that's so, I do think it, your worldview, what you're like as a person, what you love, what you hate, like that is important. And if you hate the word ceasefire, I hate the word like dead children or killing, but ceasefire, that's the word you hate. Haven't you? I mean, wow, that's
right.
A heavy thing to say.
Yeah. So Mark Levin that is attacking you every hour on his X account and attacking me and calling me names. And Fox News is tolerating that, by the way.
Of course.
Which is, I think, atrocious and pathetic. Any other company, by the way, would never allow their employees to go on their own personal social media and like verbally berate and attack and call names to people. That's a fireable offense in the real world and in the private sector. No company allows their employees to do that. Fox News is allowing Mark Levin.
Well, you can't fire Mark Levin. He's got such a huge audience. Oh, wait, no. Nobody voluntarily watches Mark Levin, of course.
I don't know anybody that watches Mark Levin. I'm sure someone watches it, but, you know, he's the great one, apparently. Yeah. But no, seriously, though, it's the fact that he hates the word ceasefire is an attack on the president. That's a real attack on the president. Not the words that I'm saying. Not anything that I've said. Not when I said we shouldn't be doing this. That wasn't an attack on the president. That's going exactly with what President Trump campaigned on. Now, what Mark Levin is saying, that he hates the word ceasefire, that is his attack on President Trump. That's him putting the ultimate disapproval, hate on what President Trump has done and that we are all so thankful and happy for. Peace is the ultimate thing that we should pursue at all times. Peace at all times, because it's good for every country and every single people. But Mark Levin hates it.
Well, peace is also the purest expression of strength. And I'm not, you know, resurrecting the hoariest quote of all, peace through strength from Reagan, which, you know, there's truth in that. But peace is a byproduct of strength. When you have a strong father in the home, you've got strong parents, the kids get along. Mm-hmm. You got the kids are out of control. There's chaos. There's fighting.
That's right.
Like, strength brings peace.
Yeah.
Dad's home. Knock that shit off.
We love that.
Yeah, but that's just
true.
That's a
yes.
principle that never changes.
Right.
And so, it's just funny that there are people, I just can't get past it. I think it's important to say it because, like, you want your country to be, but if their main goal is to kill people, if they don't have any problem, like watching Randy Fine, who's a member of Congress, I guess, from Florida.
Barely got elected, by the way, in a very red district.
In a very red district.
Very red district.
But Randy Fine, someone sent him, this is when I got off social media. I'm not looking at it anymore because it's disgusting. But somebody sent him a picture of literally of a dead child. And he's like, that's great.
Oh my goodness. That's the most horrible thing ever.
But how could someone like that serve in the Congress?
I have no idea. They shouldn't be in Congress.
What God is he worshiping? He's constantly talking about God.
Not my God.
What God wants that?
Nope. Nobody. No God. Well, there is no God but God. And our God does not want anyone to celebrate a dead child.
So if I'm whatever that guy's name is, Mike Johnson, running, you know, the Republican, Speaker of the House, I'm calling Randy Fine and being, hey, son, no. You're not allowed to celebrate dead children on your Twitter. Like, you're a member of the Republican Party in the Congress. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah, no.
Did that happen?
I don't know.
I'm sorry to be mean or so personal. I tried to interview Randy Fine. He canceled on me, but it would have been interesting.
That's a shame. He would, I think,
be mean, but like, what do you even?
He should answer to his district for that.
I agree.
I have to answer to my district.
Republicans say, wow, this guy is one of us. He's part of the conference or whatever they call it. Conference, yeah. He's a Republican, a fellow Republican in the House, and he's celebrating dead children. Did anybody say, like, that's not...
I didn't hear anybody say that.
If someone put a swastika on their Twitter feed...
Oh, my goodness.
Well, and they should. I'm opposed, for the record, I'm opposed to the swastika.
Wait, let me say, for the record, I'm opposed to the swastika,
of course, but if you put a symbol of, like, hate and violence and killing children on your Twitter feed...
Unacceptable.
The people who run your party would say something about it, right?
Oh, well, I got kicked out of... I got totally removed from all committees for things that I had put on social media or shared before I ever became a member of Congress.
But you weren't espousing violence, were you?
No, I was not espousing any type of violence.
I saw that and I was like, I don't have any choice but to vote Republican, I guess. I don't know who else I would vote for. Maybe I just won't vote, but I'm not going to vote for a party that is for killing children.
No, 100%. That's not what
how could I do that?
No, you shouldn't. I don't think anyone should.
Did anyone talk about that in the hallways? Like,
no,
Randy
I hadn't heard about it.
Nutcase.
You're the only person I've heard talk about it.
Really?
Yes. Honestly.
Nancy Mace didn't notice that her fellow Republican, Randy Fine, was putting I love killing babies?
I don't think so.
What about all the pro-lifers? supposed pro-lifers. I believe in babies.
I believe the pro-life groups would be pretty upset about that.
The real ones.
But how many followers? Does anybody even know he posted it?
I don't know. I mean, about 9 people sent it to me. Like, what? I never heard of.
People are paying attention.
Randy
okay.
Fine. Yeah, and every time there's a bombing, bombs away. Like,
bombs away. That's horrible.
We're signing ordinance before it goes and kills people.
Celebrating murder, especially of the most innocent. I'm pretty sure that that's in the Bible too. Then there's very dark things for those people.
I mean, you could be an atheist and oppose that. It's just, it's so obviously repulsive. And I just think Republicans, I mean, you're an elected Republican. I'm just a bystander who has voted Republican pretty consistently for 40 years. I think it's bad for the, I hate to use the word brand, but like...
I think it's terrible for the brand.
Yeah.
But that's what the election was all about. No more foreign wars. No more regime change. No, the 13 soldiers that were killed in the Afghanistan withdrawal, that devastated the country. I mean, I think that was like the nail in the coffin.
I think so.
It was, and we're still devastated over it. And those poor families and all the, and there's, you know, and the ones that don't get talked about, that no one talks about the soldiers that were horribly injured.
Oh, I know.
We talk about the 13, but there were so many horribly injured that are living with that today. To return back to it where our party is cheerleading it and apparently sharing the dead bodies of children and celebrating that and celebrating dropping bombs. It's like, I'm not attacking President Trump because I believe he did what he thinks is right, and how he's handled it is exactly what I want from him.
Yeah.
He has done it better than anybody. But the party itself and all of the talking heads, whether it's on the internet and on television, how they reacted was repulsive to me. Because they shouldn't have been like, yeah, we're going after him. It should have been like, hey, remember what happened to these 13 soldiers and their families and these other soldiers?
Well, there should at least be some solemnity. It's a big thing to kill people. It's a big thing to drop a bomb. I mean, maybe you think you need to do it. I'm not always right. I'm often wrong. So maybe I'm wrong.
Well, and
but even if I'm wrong, you still shouldn't be gleeful when you drop a bomb on people. What kind of freak are you anyway?
No,
right?
I think that's horrible. No one should celebrate that. Now, here's what we can say is, if the mission was successful and they really destroyed the nuclear program, then we can be really proud of our military. That is incredible. And we can be proud of the men and women that carried out that successful mission. And we can be thankful for our president for keeping our country safe. If, you know, we can go along and say all these things are true. But at the same time, when President Trump, I mean, and he went in hard and said, it's time for have Mark Levin over there pissed off on his radio show, and he's saying, I hate the word ceasefire. Like, who we are. That is not our movement. That is not America First. That is not MAGA. As a matter of fact, he took off the costume temporarily because he couldn't take it anymore. It was stifling. It was hot. He was sweaty. You know, you can see the whole thing.
It's getting moist under the skin suit.
Very much. And he ripped it off and he admitted who he was again.
Yeah.
I hate the word ceasefire. And so I think it exposed so many people.
It's so perfect.
Yeah, it's really sick.
It's really sick.
Too visual.
I know it's too visual. It's just better to like have a normal personal life where you don't have to externalize all your weird fetishes onto the U.S. military. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry. Here I go again. It just, once again, I noticed the connection between unhappy people and killing. I mean, there are many examples through history. Well-balanced people, wise people, people with a sense of the future, grandchildren, people like that don't behave like Mark Levin.
No, and regular people don't behave that way. As a matter of fact, regular people don't, they're so, again, back to being like, okay, we have all these problems. My business, I want to grow my business, but I don't have any money to invest in it. You know, people that are saying, I really barely pay my bills. My wife's car is broken down. I can't afford to buy her a new one. I mean, these are real problems. This Mark Levin should be talking about, and CNN should be talking about, and elected leaders, most of all, we should only be talking about that.
I know.
That's because my job title is representative in the United States House of Representatives. That's our job title.
Somebody said to me the other day, I don't know if you are an elected representative, so you have a much better sense of polling and where the public is, but someone said to me yesterday, the reason this push is coming now, when there was no there's no actual evidence that they were days away, but whatever. I'm glad. I don't want them to have a bomb. So
no, we don't want them to have a bomb.
But why now? So Steve Witkoff, wonderful man, was on his way to Amman on Sunday, last Sunday, and on Friday, the bombing started. Israel started bombing. They didn't ask. They just announced that they were doing it, and they did it, and derailed the talks, of course. But why the urgency? And someone said to me the other day, it has to do with the polling on this question. Mm-hmm. And the only people who support this kind of lunacy are in Mark Levin's age demographic. Like, it's older people, young people.
Our parents' generation, the baby boomers.
I hate to say that. Everyone beats up on the boomers, but it's well-deserved, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Really selfish generation in general. But do you sense that, like, anyone under 40 is...
Baby boomers primarily get their news from television.
Yes.
The Republican baby boomers watch Fox News. The Democrat baby boomers, they watch CNN.
Yes.
Or MSNBC or whatever. That's where they get their news, and that's where they receive all the propaganda fed into their head.
Yes.
About what they should think, what they should believe, who they should support, how they should vote, when they should protest, who they need to be mad at. It's all there on television for them. But so I'm 51 years old. I'm Generation X.
Right.
So then after that there's the millennials, and then there's Gen Z. That's our kids. Everybody from my age down is like, enough of this crap. Everybody my age down is sick of it. They're fed up, but they don't watch TV. They don't have the TV on in the living room 24 hours a day and fall asleep to it while they're...
So you don't know any 28-year-olds who are like, yeah, Ron's nuclear program is the biggest threat we face, and we need to effect regime change if necessary?
Absolutely not. No, 28-year-olds are pissed, and they're lost.
Yeah.
And they're defeated. And they don't know who to turn to fix these problems.
Yeah.
And they're facing problems we never faced. And so, no, the 28-year-olds were like, oh, great. Now I've got to worry about this too. I mean, they don't want to have anything to do with it.
No, it's totally true.
It's insane. And so think about it like this. Tucker, in the next 10 years, or maybe a little bit longer, our parents' generation is going to pass away. And by the time that entire generation has moved on, and the bulk of it, sadly, has passed, because that's my mom and was my dad, and when they're gone, and that mentality and those, decisions made in Washington based on all of this neocon and fighting for foreign countries and fighting the foreign causes and sending the foreign aid and all of this foreign garbage, once they're gone, we're going to be decimated and desolate because we will have never poured back into our own country.
Yes.
And then we're going to have our generation of kids who at that time are going to be like in their 30s. And it's going to be really hard for them.
No, I totally agree.
And so that generation will be gone, and Mark Levin won't get to put his opinion on anybody.
No.
And it won't matter anymore. And I don't even know if people will watch TV anymore. Who knows?
Of course not.
No, they're going to be sick of it. I mean, I think they're already sick of it. People are checking out.
We're going to get radical politics.
But I think it's going to be before 10 years.
When I was a kid, I went with my dad to Venezuela, to Caracas, and it was probably late 70s. Great town, great city. It was biggest oil reserves in the world. It was a rich country, beautiful, super nice people, beautiful women. It was just great. Caracas, Venezuela was great. the economy of Venezuela was always pretty centralized, basically came down to like a very small number of families controlled everything, which is fine unless you marry that to democracy. You give everyone a vote. So you can only have an economy that's pyramid shaped,
right,
if you don't give everyone the vote. But the second you give everyone the vote, you better share the wealth, or just shut it down and make it an oligarchy. But you can't have those two together. So they had those two together, and then they elected a Marxist, who, you know, and all those rich people who were there when I was in Caracas are now living in South Florida, and
of course,
you know, paying politicians to hate Maduro or whatever. But the point is, it's not even about Chavez or Maduro. It's like they were the products of a society that couldn't sustain a middle class.
Right.
And that's going to happen to us.
It's already happening. It's already happening.
I wrote a whole book about this that nobody read a number of years ago because it was so obvious that it was coming. It's so obvious to me. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get. It's going to be about economics too.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that?
Oh, for sure. It's always about money.
I know.
And that's. I mean that. It should be our responsibility to create an environment, to create a system, to create an economy where everybody can get rich.
Yeah.
Where people can actually make a lot of money. Because when you make a lot of money, guess what? You are happy. I know they tell you that money doesn't buy happiness, but guess what? Money definitely buys a lot of happiness. It doesn't make you perfect. It doesn't solve who you are on the inside. Created a system. We've created an economy where we are creating a lot of unhappiness because people are going broke.
It's true.
And there is in Washington, D.C., everyone is drawn by whatever group they're speaking to, whatever lobbyist interest, all these things that are pulling them away from what we really should be doing. And we're not fixing the problems.
That's totally right.
And I think it's so you asked me in the beginning, which direction will it go? And so there's two things I have to talk about directions on. One of them is with our country, it's really going to be up to the American people if they're willing to get in there and really make a difference and fight for our country to not be taken over by these insane people that are going to all of a sudden start running for office everywhere. That is a decision that people have to make. And I'm watching it in my own home state of Georgia. I'm watching it right now. We're coming up on the next election cycle. It is going 2026. We have our governors, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, the entire slate. Our entire state, all positions are on the ballot, and a Senate seat. And I am not seeing the willingness in the state of Georgia to rise to the occasion among Republicans, voters, and donors, especially among donors, because they don't see the threat that's coming for them. They have been living in Georgia where everything has been, their Republicans have been in control. Have they done everything perfect? No, but my goodness, they've done a lot right. So no, everybody's kicking back, it's like they don't worry about it. Why would they worry about it? But they are not aware that we're so purple. Oh my goodness, Georgia is on the brink of being stolen. And it's like this, Tucker. Democrats stole California years ago.
I noticed, yeah.
It's a communist state. They have seriously taken New York to the point of something terrifying. And we saw that election yesterday. Think about those states, okay? California, ports in California, powerful ports. That's trade. That's everything. New York, super powerful ports. That's where the airports, that's where people come in from all over the world to California, New York. The state of Georgia is very similar, and the Democrats know it, but the Republicans are not paying attention to how important Georgia is. Georgia is the economic hub of the South. We have the busiest airport in the world in Atlanta. We have the third largest port in the country, the third largest port in Savannah. We have I-75, I-85. We have so much trade and commerce in our barely red state that 2 Democrat senators hold seats in, by the way. And the people they are not rising to the occasion. They are not serious about defeating Democrats. And they are snoozing. But when the Democrats take the state of Georgia, They will. It's impactful. It's terrifying when you put it the dynamic of California and New York, and if they take Georgia.
So I think the cycle is you let the middle class wither, you make it impossible for people to own anything, and then all of a sudden you have like an entire army, shock troops of disenfranchised, unhappy people who are your voters.
Yes.
Yeah.
That are desperate.
Exactly.
And who will they turn to?
The most radical person.
That's right.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt about it. Do you think the White House understands this?
I hope they understand
So
it.
what's going to happen is you're going to see some seriously radical people elected in 2026, next fall, a year from November. And the story will be, well, they're just pissed at Trump. It's anti-Trump. You know, of course, I'm sure they don't like Trump, but that's not what it is.
No.
It's the state of the economy.
For sure.
And it's the fact that Larry Fink has all the money.
It's the fact, yeah. It's the fact that our nation's leaders have been America last.
Yeah.
For a very long time.
So what are you going to do? Are you going to run for your seat again?
Yeah, I'm going to run for my seat again. I don't know. I have options.
Yeah, I know
I
you
do have options, but I look at my home state and I go, you know what? I love Georgia more than any place on the to the death. But if they're not willing to fight too, then why would I throw myself out?
I just noticed, I referred to it before, and I've lived it, by the way. I ran away from the city I lived in. And everyone I know, my age, I'm 56, you know, who can afford it, it's like, I'm moving to my summer house or whatever. Sure. It's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
How about Southeast Idaho? You know, I should live in Drake's. No, for real, though. People are just like, I don't want to deal with it, I'm leaving. And that is understandable. I mean, again, I did it, so I'm not judging, but it's also kind of ignoble. It's not impressive to do that. Like, impressive people say, no. My parents are from here. I'm staying. Like, I'm not leaving.
But at the same time, you can't do it by yourself.
No, I know.
And that you need people.
And it does feel like people who are vested in the system just don't want to fight, do they?
I feel like Republicans in general don't see the fight ahead. They are completely blinded. The Republican Party as a whole is completely blinded to what is happening right now. The whole conversation in Washington is Democrats in disarray. Oh, they're so lost. They're fighting for the illegals, the criminal cartels.
Is that really what they're saying?
Yes, they're saying Democrats in disarray.
Like inside
in our meetings. Yeah. Whoa. Democrats are in disarray. They're going to lose. We're going to win the midterms, you know.
They're really saying that?
Yes.
Kind of congratulating themselves?
Yeah. Like as if it's like we just won the election in November. So it's still that same kind of vibe because Democrats are so lost right now. They don't even know who they are. You know, it's that nonstop conversation because they're seeing them go out and fight ICE, and they're seeing them do these No King protests, and they're seeing them wave foreign countries' flags and things like that. And they're saying Democrats are in disarray when I don't see it that way.
No, I agree with you completely.
And the Republicans cannot win elections if they don't understand what the enemy is doing and how they're rebuilding and the direction that they're going in.
And they're harnessing rage, real rage. I don't think it's aimed necessarily at Trump, but there's real rage about the decay in the country.
Yes.
Abandoning young people.
That's the whole reason everyone voted for President Trump.
No, that's why he won young people.
Absolutely. And that's why another reason why I love him. His message and campaign promises are the greatest. But if Republicans don't deliver them, once you burn people are too burned. They've been burned too many times by the government. They've been burned too many times by politicians. They don't trust anybody anymore. And I don't blame them. I'm like, I feel the same way.
Maybe we should just move oil prices up to Tom Cotton's rooting for MAGA?
No.
Probably not.
No audio?
Well, we know Ted Cruz is not.
No, of course not.
Is there audio now?
I don't know. I mean, there is a kind of honor in just saying what you think and just being straightforward about your agenda. I guess what I agree with, but I'm really offended by the fakeness. No, it's MAGA or it's America first to put another country first. No, it's not. It's not. Just say, I like America. It's not, I served in a foreign military. It's not, I have a foreign flag on my door, so it's obviously not my first priority, but I like it. Yeah. Why not just be straightforward? Why lie to me?
Well, actually, to be honest with you, I don't think that they love whatever country's flag they have. They do say it, and they do give their allegiance to them.
Yeah.
Actually, they're not lying.
One last question. How many, because you've been there a while, you're a social person. I think people like you personally. I know they do, because I've heard that. How many other Republican members of Congress sort of understand the things that you've been saying?
I couldn't give you an exact number. I think there's a small percentage of them that agree with me, but they don't want to say it. They won't say it out loud. It's too risky. Or they perceive it to be too risky because they don't want to be called anti-Semitic. That's the label. It's like once you get called that label, you get all these nasty articles written about you. Yeah. You get all these, the RJC comes after you, and then you've got donors coming to you and saying you can't be anti-Semitic. When here's the honest truth. It's not anti-Semitic to say we shouldn't be fighting a war that Israel started. And it's not anti-Semitic to say we shouldn't be doing what Netanyahu is telling us to do when he's in the tank in polls in his own country. And honestly, that man should have stepped down after October 7th. That was the most horrific, horrible thing that happened to all these innocent people in Israel. And it happened on his watch. And that's the reality. And I'm quite sure there's many people in Israel that feel that way, and
I think he's at like 30%.
Exactly, and it's also
way more popular in the Congress than he is in Israel. Way more.
Oh, way more popular. And it's not anti-Semitic to say that there was a vote on last Thursday, that he barely won by 2 votes. And had he have lost that vote, there would have been an election called, and according to the polls, he would have lost. And then the next day, on Friday, they launched the attack on Iran. And what does war do? Pulls everybody together. And so that's not anti-Semitic to talk about. That's reality. And it's not anti-Semitic to say Americans' hard-earned tax dollars in a nation where we're $37 trillion in debt shouldn't be going to Israel or shouldn't be going to any country, that we should be keeping those at home. We should keep that money at home. There's towns in my district that could use some money coming down there to fix a water treatment plant or to help pave a road. That's where our tax dollars should be going to. Should be helping people that were affected by hurricanes. Should be helping people like, oh my goodness, in Lahaina from a fire. All kinds of California, for heaven's sake. We should be helping our own Americans. It's not anti-Semitic. And I tried to do it to me before, and everybody that knows me knows that is not true about me. And the reality is, it's a lie. And it's a lie that we need to get over.
It's also identity politics, which I thought we'd given up.
I thought so too.
I was so annoyed by the Democrats. They could never talk about Americans. It was always this group or that group, Malaysian Americans, lesbian Filipino Americans, or whatever. I'm not against any of them, for the record. But how about just Americans? And I remember hearing everybody on Fox giving that lecture. We hate identity politics. And then all of a sudden, they're just engaged in it. There's nothing, it's an inherently divisive message. Mm-hmm. Isn't it? How about passing a bill on behalf of every American citizen, no matter what he or she looks like?
That's the only thing we should be doing. Because our job title is representative.
It's so dark. I can't even handle it. Do you think that, and this is my last question, you've been so generous with your time. And by the way, from the day you started running and they decided your opponents have really good instincts and they knew that you were going to say what you thought, and that's the thing that they hated about you.
Yeah.
But they would always say, because you have a Southern accent, she's stupid. And I would just dare any honest person to listen to the hour and a half we just did. Maybe they hate everything you said. No one thinks you're stupid. That was really smart analysis, much smarter analysis than I got from Harvard Law School graduate Ted Cruz. I would.
Baking soda in your kitchen and you're not using this recipe yet, you're throwing away your
analysis than I got from Harvard Law School graduate Ted Cruz, I would say. Did you go to Harvard Law School?
No, definitely not.
Okay. Well, anyway, I just think it's a really smart analysis. What you said, it's true.
Thank you.
Do you feel like any of this will change? The attitudes will change, that the people claiming to put America first actually will?
No. I think there's a shift happening, and I saw it a little bit. I don't know how big it is, but I saw a small shift, and I saw it mostly in regular people. And I think there are people I serve with that are feeling it too, but I don't know how willing they are to just say enough, enough of this. I'm just going to focus on our country and my district, because that's the simplest thing to say. The most simplest thing to say. I can say I hope so. But I don't think it's going to happen as quickly as I'd like to see it.
Yeah, well, 2026, when they get just creamed.
Make sure we get
those election morning, they're like, oh, Democratic Party is so disorganized. They're still talking about trans stuff. I hated the trans stuff more than I've hated almost anything. I mean, I really hated it. Destroyed so many lives of kids. But what it's really about is economics, and they have just refused to acknowledge that.
That's what it comes down to.
You're totally right.
Yep, because what happened under 4 years of Biden?
Yep.
Inflation was crazy.
Yep.
Everything was out of control. The world, our whole country felt unstable. The economy was fake. It was propped up by money pumped into it by the government and all the spending. And look at the shift that happened. People couldn't take the crazy.
Private equity owns the houses on your street and your veterinarian and your dental practice and owns everything. And they don't improve it. They make it shittier, actually.
Yeah, because no one's going to care about their sweet little, I always love the mom and pop grocery stores.
Yeah.
And I hate that they've been replaced by Dollar General.
Well, of course.
Like one of my biggest pet peeves.
But you're not allowed to mention it, or else you're a socialist. Ben Shapiro's like, oh, you're a socialist. Because I don't like Dollar General? Really?
Who's Ben Shapiro?
I have no idea. But I tried to bring this up to him years ago, that the economic thing, I'm hardly an economist, but I just think being able to afford to live in the country that you were born in and being, having an economy that allows your children to have children, that just seems like that's the measure.
Yep. And you want to know something? That should be the one thing that unifies the entire, everybody.
That's all I care about. I'll tell you that.
I don't care. I'm getting to the point where I almost don't care about the two parties anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, why would I be loyal to one? And I definitely disagree with the other one. But if we can find a place to actually, like you're talking about, care about the economy and care about our children's ability to have a future and raise a family, then I don't care. I don't care who I have to work with. It's just getting important, and nothing else should matter.
Yep.
I couldn't agree more. Marjorie Taylor Greene, thank you for spending all this time, and good luck, because you will definitely.
I'm going to need it.
You're going to make the Daily Beast mad. I'm just telling you that right now. You are. They may not even endorse you.
Darn it. I don't read them, so I don't care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want you guys all to remember that the Republican Party has it very clear. They're going around and saying that everything will be peachy fine. It's not going to be peachy fine. We all need to make sure November 3rd, year 26, we all get out and vote. If we do not, you all can kiss your country goodbye. Simple as that. Do not, Elon Musk Trump team is doing an awesome job. We don't need to see this go downhill. We know the libtards don't care about nothing, but Make America's live. God bless y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tomorrow is a big day. We'll be doing a card show.